Trying to bring glory back to England for the first time since '66. But how did he get here? Well, from the sleepy town of Krumbach via some giants of European football, here's his journey to Wembley. Sitting around 60 miles west of Munich, Krumbach's population is less than 14,000 people. But Tuchel's friends there remember a boy whose ambitions lay far beyond the Bavarian community. His will to win was evident early. Tuchel often captained his youth football teams, and his school side lifted the national German football trophy in 1987. The Sport took the young defender on a whistle-stop tour of South Germany, from Augsburg to Stuttgart and then Ulm. A knee injury ended his playing career at the age of 25, though. Tuchel accepted his first coaching role in the Stuttgart youth setup in 2000, hired by none other than Ralf Rangnick. Under Tuchel's stewardship, the club's under-19s won their league title in 2005. But Stuttgart chose not to renew his contract, feeling Tuchel had an abrasive personality. He went on to manage Augsburg's second team before spending 5 years at the helm at Mainz. He then followed in Jurgen Klopp's footsteps and moved from Mainz to Dortmund. Here, Tuchel secured his first major silverware, the German Cup, in 2017. 8 more major trophies came next for Tuchel in just 5 glorious seasons. He won 2 Ligue 1 titles and a pair of domestic cups as PSG boss. At Chelsea, he famously lifted the Champions League as well as a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, and he also bagged a Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. And then, 4 months after leaving Bayern, Tuchel was unveiled as England's new manager.
I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league and of the players. The attitude towards the game, the attitudes from the supporters.
Well, here's hoping Tuchel can finally drag England over the line at a major tournament.
Very good morning to you. It is very nearly 4 minutes past 6 o'clock. It's Thursday, April the 30th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Ron Clark. Buy a used car and get a free 2-year service plan. Plus, get an extra £500 when you part exchange. Shop the upgrade event today. I'm Jeff Stelling with you through until 10, and Gabby's alongside me. Morning, Gabs. How you doing, mate?
Morning, Jeff. Long time. How are we, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks.
All well.
You?
Yeah, all well, mate. Can't complain. Busy, healthy. That's the main thing.
Interested listening to early breakfast there, saying, what's the best thing about the Midlands? Come on, you're the expert.
Well, it's got to be Villa Park, number 1. The canals, lovely canals, Jeff. Best in the world. Lovely shopping centres. You know, they've got the Mailbox, got the Bullring. New Street Station, one of the best in the world. And that's the end.
Why do you spend so much time down here in London then, Gabby?
Great motorways to get out of Birmingham as well.
Yeah.
Different directions.
Look,
6 toll.
We should be talking about the Champions League semi-final between Atletico and Arsenal right now. And instead, what we're doing, we're talking about, was it handball? What is handball? Was it a foul? Was it clear and obvious? We're talking about VAR. It stinks. Get rid of it. It's killing football. Not even referees like it. They hate it as much as me. And it's true, isn't it? I mean, nobody is talking about the game. Okay, it wasn't the greatest.
No.
But it had its moments, all of which were overshadowed by VAR and officiating.
I think the penalty in the PSG Bayern game was a shambles as well.
Oh, well, it was.
And you know what's funny? I was watching the game yesterday, and every time they had a shot, Atletico Madrid, Gabriel, his hands were tied like he was arrested. I was watching him, and it was hilarious. And you have to now.
Yeah.
And even that, maybe if it hits you when your hands are behind your back, it might give a penalty now. I feel it was a harsh penalty on Ben White, but the way they give penalties in the Champions League all season, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
That's how they do it in the Champions League. It's different to the Premier League. I don't think Eze's was a penalty. I feel that being in that position, the amount of gambles he did from the slightest touch, I don't think it was enough to give a penalty. But then Arsenal fans will surely argue that once it's given, can you take that away from going to the VAR screen? Harsh, but I think Arsenal will be happy to get a 1-1 out of the game. I thought second half, Atletico Madrid had some very good chances.
Yeah, I think that, look, inevitably we'll talk about all those decisions right throughout the morning. And Arsenal fans, they'd have taken a 1-1. I think it's a dangerous position for them because in control as they were in the first half, Arsenal, they were on the back foot in the second half, and Atletico showed that they can be very threatening.
And I feel as well, Atletico Madrid didn't turn up first half. I thought Griezmann was poor first half, wasn't really involved. They couldn't get out, could they? At times they're trying to play that long ball and they've got no one really that can hold it up. I feel like maybe second leg, if Sorloth starts, vocal point at the top of the pitch. But Lookman looks sharp. Alvarez, he scares me whenever he turns because he shoots. He shoots from anywhere, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Very good player.
And it would be a massive bonus for Arsenal, a terrible blow for Atletico if he wasn't fit for that second leg.
Exactly.
That would make the Gunners
He's their main player.
much better.
He's their main player, Jeff, and I'm sure he'll be one of the main players this summer at the World Cup, especially for Argentina. But Arsenal, you're at home. We've seen Vincent Kompany on Tuesday night saying, if any fans feel a bit ill, give your ticket away. We need every fan in that stadium to be on side. Arsenal need to create an atmosphere like Atletico Madrid did last night. So it's all to play for, and who wants it more?
It is absolutely all to play for. You hope that Arsenal fans are not as nervous, as edgy as they have been.
They can't be.
Times.
They can't be, because that affects the players. We've seen it in so many games.
You can't help it, though, can you? I mean,
know,
if you're nervous, you're nervous.
And it happened on Saturday, didn't it, against Newcastle?
Yeah.
It's 1-0, and they're not really having any chances. Wissa has to score, misses that chance over the bar. And even the manager's on the sideline, Jeff Arteta, is racing around, his hands are on his head. Sometimes a bit of relax. When you watch Manchester City now, they're relaxed. It's not chaotic. It's not anxiety around the stadium. Relax. You've got better players, probably 1 to 11, a better team than Atletico Madrid. Go and show it. Madueke last night looked sharp early on, faded again, wasn't happy when he got brought off. Saka didn't look up to speed yet. But players have to do better. Odegaard wasn't happy when he come off either. Gyökeres done well at times. At other times, didn't really hold the ball up well enough. But they've got a great chance, Jeff, to get to the final of Champions League.
They've got a fantastic opportunity. It's not a mixed blessing, but you're going to come against PSG, Bayern, and we'll talk about that during the course of the day as well. But look, as I say, all the talk is about officiating, so let's get stuck into that. Mikel Arteta, his surprise, he was asked for his thoughts on the penalty decision that was overturned.
What I'm incredibly fuming with is how the hell the penalty on Epps gets overturned in the manner that happened when it's not a clear and obvious error. And this changes the course of the game, and at this level, I'm sorry, but this cannot happen.
Have you had any explanation on that?
There's very clear explanation. The decision and what happens for a period of time, and the referee has to watch it 13 times. It's more clear than that. I think it's impossible, and we are all fuming about it.
Do you think the referee ultimately, when he went back to the screen, do you think he was influenced by Simeone?
100%. Did you hear the fans?
Yeah.
They were screaming, whistling. Simeone shouldn't be allowed to do that. And I do agree that the screen should be on the opposite side to where the benches are. I don't like that, because if Arteta was doing that, we'd all complain. So I do agree on that. Simeone definitely had an influence. But maybe when the referee did look at it, Jeff, I think he looked at 13 different views of it. Maybe he looked and says, maybe it's not as forceful as I thought it was. It was a bit of a light touch by the defender. And the way Eze rolls over, not every touch is a foul, Jeff.
No.
If that's in the centre of the pitch, the ref might say, play on, that's soft. But when they're giving the penalties like they give to against Ben White, then you see that you can understand Arteta's anger.
The problem with the 13 different views is they show different things. From one angle, one still shows clearly, that the boy's foot is on top of Eze's foot. It's clear, significant contact. But from other angles, it doesn't look like a foul at all.
Do you think that when you saw it and you saw the first replay of it, did you say that's a definite penalty, 100%? Or did you say, I can see why he's given it, but maybe he's gone over a bit lightly?
Yeah. I mean, look, the first impression was that it was a penalty. But, then when you see it more closely from those different angles, it certainly put doubt in my mind.
I like the way Lookman, 2 minutes before, stays on his feet, gets a shot off. Because you're hungry. I would have done the same. As an attacking player, you're like, I don't get many of these chances. I'm not going down. I don't take the penalties. You're thinking of yourself, get your shot off. Maybe the referees thought about that as well. Lookman stayed on his feet. Why is Eze not staying on his feet? But what I would say, Jeff, that like this Champions League final, we could be talking about a refereeing decision that wins a Champions League final for a team.
Well, it's more than likely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than likely. Look, something incredible happened on the Sports Bar last night. Jamie O'Hara came to the defence of Arsenal. Here he is discussing the penalty decision with Jason Cundy.
He doesn't touch him. He goes to touch him. Brilliant play from Eze, by the way. But it's a dive. And I love a dive, as you know. I'm never going to criticise anyone for a dive. But he gets called out. His left leg trails him.
It's not a dive.
It's a dive.
It's not a dive.
He's not touched.
It's not a dive.
It's a dive.
You can't sit here and say it's a dive.
It's a good dive. And I'm all for that. Anyone that's ever listened to me over the years, if you can go down and win a penalty in the box, go down and do it. Harry Kane does it in the World Cup final.
But that's exactly what he done.
Yeah, and he got called out for it. And he nearly got away with it.
No, I think it's a pen, mate. I think it's a pen.
I just don't.
And I'm not going to sit... Like, me being a Spurs fan, I can't believe I'm sticking up for Arsenal, but that is a penalty.
It's not a pen.
It is. Eze's sharpening him. He's quicker to the ball.
Yeah.
He sticks his leg out.
Yeah, all that's true.
He catches him.
No, he doesn't.
He does. There's contact, Jace. Jace, there's contact. There's contact.
The debate will go on and on. Here's another matter for debate. Did Mikel Arteta get his team wrong when he left Eberechi Eze out of the starting lineup?
Oh, Odegaard's his captain. Odegaard done very well against Manchester City. Maybe not as well against Newcastle. I don't think so, Jeff, because Eze is a talented player, but there's been many games this season where he started and he hasn't been great.
Game changer as well, though, isn't he?
Bringing him on, though, helped, didn't it? Maybe bringing him on in games, but maybe he looks at that Arteta and says the impact that he had in that second half, maybe he starts next week. I'll tell you what, Jeff, Odegaard did not look happy.
No.
Madueke didn't look happy, and he's got to manage that as well, Mikel Arteta, because players, they've got that ego being brought off so early in the second half. But as well, Martinelli, can you do more? Madueke, Martinelli, Gyökeres, I feel like they've got more to give, Jeff.
Yeah.
Saka didn't look fit when he come on. He was getting the ball taken off him every time he got it. Obviously, he needs time to get up to match fitness. I think some of these players, Trossard, when he come on, keeps the ball nice, but hasn't scored, has he, in 2026? I feel like even if Arsenal do win trophies this season, there may be a few players that get sold in the summer, and a few different ones brought in.
There's always the issue with Arsenal at the moment, isn't it? Is where do the goals come from? And you mentioned all the players there you mentioned are forward players, and I'm not sure which of them you rely on to deliver goals at the moment. I mean, they relied on the Gyökeres penalty, which on another day Oblak would certainly have saved.
Yes.
His hands.
And also, when you look at Arsenal, Jeff, you look at the players that they've got, it's hard to say who are Arsenal going to play on Saturday, who's the front three, who's the front three next week. With Manchester City, you know it's Semenyo, you know it's Doku, you know it's Shirky behind Haaland. Other teams, you know Bayern Munich, you know PSG, you probably know Atletico Madrid's. And he's probably thinking himself there, Gabriel Jesus, you come on last night, you don't really do much. Arteta's probably like, come on, someone really claim that place in that front line. Because I thought Declan Rice was very good last night.
Yeah, right.
He was everywhere, he was cleaning up, wasn't he? Doing his job. Defensively, I thought they were very good as well. But the attacking players need to step up for sure.
Well, look, it's brilliantly balanced. Arsenal fans, though, let's hear from you. What did you make of the refereeing decisions last night? Are you more confident than Gabby and I that you will get the job done at the Emirates? I think it's still a 50-50 game, I'll be honest with you. 03717223344 is the number. Do give us a call. Jordan's just texted on a different subject. This morning, Jeff, are you still unsure Ipswich will go up? Never in doubt. Hey, Jordan, last time I looked, they were 1 point clear with a game to go. 1 point ahead of Millwall, 2 points ahead of Middlesbrough. Yeah, I'm still unsure they'll go up. I think they probably will, but I am unsure they'll go up, as I've been all season long. Coming up, of course, huge show for you. Coventry City manager, newly promoted Coventry champions of the Championship. Frank Lampard will be with us for half an hour later on. Don't miss that. But up next, we'll turn our attention to the back pages.
Whatever happened to the traditional cagey semi-final affair? The first leg of this semi-final, the highest scoring of any in Champions League history. Now, on Amazon, Vincent Kompany spoke post-match, and he tried to describe what we'd just seen.
Yeah, I would say, well, what do you want? Do you want teams that... I think you've seen a lot of good defending today. Intense duels and this, but it's just the margins are so little, and you only have two ways. So the first one is to go full, or the second one is to retreat fully. The in-between doesn't work against that level of players. The in-between doesn't work against our level of players.
Well, Vincent doesn't exactly see it as Wayne Rooney saw it. We saw some good defending. Vincent, what? Wayne Rooney, at this level, we have seen some brilliance, but we've seen some immature defending, which is crazy. He's not wrong, Dan.
There was some poor defending, yeah. But the problem you've got is when you play the way those two teams do, you're going to isolate people 1v1. And you can call it poor defending or you can just call it brilliant forward play. It's nearly impossible if you're one-on-one with someone with electric pace and good skill, because they can go both ways, to stop them. Kvaratskhelia goal, for example, or when you've got Elise one-on-one, you're in a world of trouble. So, I think rather than focus on whether there was good or bad defending, what I enjoyed most is that styles make fight. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with me, but a George Michael for this Thursday morning. Why are we playing? Well, George Michael's life is set to be turned into a Broadway musical. News that the Broadway show is in the works comes after it's confirmed that a long-lost concert film and live album are set for release later
this year. Can't fall off, can they, with a Broadway musical based on George Michael's life, because the music was fantastic. Well, I'm saying that. You agree, Gabby? You're
I agree.
George Michael fan?
Of course, 100%. Who isn't?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, genius, musical genius, I think. So inevitably.
Yes. What I do like, though, is what I do like, Jeff, and I need to go and watch it probably tonight. Not tonight, sorry. Video game's on Friday. Michael Jackson film. Michael Jackson.
It's been battered by the critics, mate.
Really?
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of people say it's a great film.
So, you know.
All right, I won't go then, Jeff. Ruined that for me.
But you wouldn't be going anyway, not with the Villa playing Forest.
No, not tonight. Friday I'll go.
Well, Friday, Leeds are playing Wolves on Friday night. You can't go there either.
I don't watch Wolves. Yeah. No. They're a championship team now.
Playing Burnley, I beg your pardon. They've already beaten Wolves. They're playing Burnley on Friday, and I was thinking of relegated sides. So, there's Nathan's text has said, I think Eze tripped over the long grass that Arsenal's ground staff were worried about. I mean, seriously.
Incredible, isn't it?
Complaints about the length of the grass before
It's incredible, isn't it? Like it matters. The grass should be as high as you want it to be. If you're at home and you're the home team, do whatever you like. And they measured it and said, no, it's totally fine.
No, the shots of them measuring the grass before.
Arsenal's 3 groundsmen that have been flew over, Jeff. Oh, okay, then. My job's done now. The grass is fine. See you later.
Brilliant.
What time's my flight back to London?
Yeah. Oh,
sorry, Katie, Arsenal fan.
It was an amazing night in so many respects. And not for all of the right reasons. In fact, for a lot of the wrong reasons. Okay, let's head to the back pages.
Back page review on talkSPORT.
And Katie Shanahan is with us. Hiya, Kate.
Hello both. We're going to carry on talking about just a couple of those headlines regarding the Arsenal 1, Atletico Madrid 1 result from last night. A couple of headlines here on the back page of the Times. Arsenal pay the penalty. We'll get into Michaela Mudrik's ban in a moment. That's also on the back page of the Times. Penalty notice with a picture of Victor Gyökeres, who I thought actually that first 45 minutes, he actually had a really good spell. That's on the back page of the Mirror. Eze denied on the back page of the Daily Mail. And then this one that took me a while to get this morning, Pen and Stink. Apparently it's Cockney rhyming slam, pen and ink, stink on the back page of The Sun. More pictures of Victor Gyökeres as, it finished 1-1 between Atletico Madrid and Arsenal. But let's start talking about, because I know you've spoken about that quite a lot, Michaela Mudrik's story on the back page of The Times. This 4-year ban for him. So he's been banned for 4 years by the FA after failing a drugs test. So he has appealed against the decision to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. He's been charged by the FA with an anti-doping rule violation in June last year. He tested positive in December 2024 for meldonium, a banned drug that can improve endurance, and had been provisionally suspended. Jeff, is this 4-year ban too harsh, or is it the best way to deter players from doing it in the future?
Same as Paul Pogba. 4 years, he got 4 years, didn't he? And in exactly the same fashion, he appealed and got it reduced to 18 months. And Mudrik's appealing, he'll probably get it reduced as well. You know, I mean,
not been the same since, has he, Pogba? Since
no,
he came back, it's like injuries.
No, well, it's
that long out. I fear for Mudrik. If he does come back after that, because how do you feel if you're Shakhtar as well? Because that contract would have had a lot of bonuses in. So they're missing out on a lot of money financially as well. Yeah. Not playing at Chelsea.
Yeah, and of course Chelsea paid a lot of money for him in the first place.
Yeah, 89 million.
You know, look, I mean, there've got to be rules and regulations, and there've got to be punishments, haven't they? And, you know, drugs is a scourge in so many sports. The last thing you want it to be is impacting football as well. So, I mean, this may have been something that was done with no intent.
How long has he done already, though?
Well, he hasn't played since November 2024, so he's done nearly 2 years. Not that.
Year and a half,
no, 18 months he's done, probably, something like that now.
So what, you'd have like another, if they reduce it to 2 years, say?
Yeah. Well, Pogba got 18 months, so it might be.
We go back to what he's already missed.
Yeah, but then, you know, after that, even if he was to come back after 18 months, let's say he was available next season, who touches him? Did Chelsea keep faith with him? How could they offload him?
He wasn't at his best anyway, was he?
You know?
Before he
was awful before.
He wasn't great at all.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype. He's also 25. So, Gabby, do you feel sorry for Mudrik at all here? Because he is so young and he's missing such a key part of his career.
It depends, doesn't it? It's hard to say feel sorry because you don't know the facts. If he's taking it on purpose, then deserves the punishment. But if it's an accident, we know it does happen with athletes, then you do feel sorry for him. Sometimes it might be whoever's looking after him as he had wrong
Yeah.
advice. So you do feel sorry for a player for that long being out of the game, because I remember when he signed and that first game was against Liverpool and everyone was excited. Look how quick he is, look how sharp he is. And then after that, not good enough. So I'm sure Chelsea will be annoyed because it's a big investment. Also, like I said, Shakhtar, they would have bonuses in that amount of games you play. If you get Champions League football, they're missing out on millions. They won't be happy.
Yeah, you look, without knowing the sort of circumstances.
Exactly,
Yeah, it's hard
just
to know.
impossible to judge, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, if there's been no intent involved, then he's very, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And this is a fella's life we're talking about as well. So, very, very difficult times for him.
There's this other story on the back page of the Times, which I think is really interesting, by Martin Ziegler here. So all clubs would be required to have at least one homegrown under-21 player on the pitch at all times under a radical plan being considered by FIFA. So the idea, which could even apply to under-20 players instead of under-21, would have a potentially seismic impact on clubs' transfer policies, their selections and things like that. So FIFA's plan, said by sources, to be aimed at helping the development of young players. Is this a good thing for English football?
Oh, God's sake.
No,
Keep your noses out.
Yeah. You know where you can't do that, Katie, because what does that say? The player's not good enough, but you got him on the pitch because of the rules, and he's having a really bad game, but you can't take him off because of the rules. I get it in a match day
Can you
squad.
sub him after 5 minutes?
Yeah, I get it in a match day squad. Maybe you have to have a certain amount of homegrown players in a match day squad. I'm all for that, definitely, but not in the starting team. I
Can't have the authorities picking your team for you. It's just insane.
Imagine if it's not the best player, Jeff, and like everyone's targeting him as a left back. And he just can't get a breather. You're just targeting this 20-year-old because he has to play.
Whose career you can then destroy by having thrown him in too soon, in unfavourable circumstances. For goodness sake, there are so many issues in the game today. FIFA, get your heads down.
Incredible, isn't it?
Sort those out first, not introduce more issues.
They just love changing things, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, the headline here on the it's a couple of pages in. Gregor Robertson goes, which FIFA clown thought up the under-21 idea? It would open up a can of worms. Governing body honks its horn once again with its plan for young players. So it's
very well said.
Very well said. I like that.
Maybe change the rules that like teams don't have to sell their young stars because of PSR. Basically, you get all the profit, don't you? If the players homegrown. Change those rules, and then maybe younger players will get a chance to stay at their homegrown clubs.
Yeah. Just on the Arsenal, Simon in Bournemouth says, morning all, Arsenal looked knackered in the second half last night. I'm not sure they'll beat Fulham now, which is an interesting
tough game.
thought. It is
Fulham have
tough
got a lot
game.
to play for, Jeff.
Yeah. Simon says, Saka looked way off the pace. I think he's right. He needs some games, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Madueke was infuriating most of the time. Nwaneri should never have gone on loan. Downman at the rescue. 16-year-old might have to save the season. Apparently Atletico players will be rested this weekend, according to Spanish expert Terry Gibson on the Sports Bar. Well, I think a lot of them have been being rested in the last few weeks.
Yes.
That's why their league form has been so bad. But it's a really interesting call, Simon, about what might happen against Fulham this weekend. Katie, thanks very much. See you a bit later on. Coming up, the Wall Street Journal broke the news last night that Saudi Arabia has pulled funding from Live Golf. More on that coming next.
Lincoln City celebrated their title win this weekend.
Go on.
Decided this is the big moment to mock Spurs.
What? Oh my God! Up the imps. Up the imps. Jay, Tottenham away, ole ole. That is shameless.
I don't know where to
Tottenham.
go.
Do you know that game now has been built up to something? Right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's been a thing because of you. Because of you.
There's nothing to do with me. I'm not.
No, it is. No, it's because of you. You made it a
I'm
thing.
not playing centre off Spurs.
It's just who we are,
It's not my fault you're there.
Oh, it's a killer. Oh, it's a killer. Lincoln away next season.
Mate, don't knock the imps, mate. Up the imps.
Lincoln away.
Ole, ole.
It's a killer. It is.
Can you imagine Spurs start singing Lincoln away, ole, ole?
Well, you know what? We're going to have to. Maybe we're going to have to.
No, Jay, get out of it, mate.
Do you think we'll get out of it?
Jay, I've been saying all along you'll get out of it, right? You'll find a way. I cannot... Look, it's a straight shootout between you and West Ham. Up your hands. Straight shootout, mate.
I can't see it.
I
can't see it.
No, it is a straight shootout between you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but West Ham are decent.
Mate, they've been decent.
They've been all right.
Look, you picked up your first victory, right? Roberto De Spurzi.
At what cost? Solanke and Jamie Simmons out. Season over.
Patch them up, get them out. You got...
Ever fancied having a beer in the stands while watching your team at the Emirates, or at Anfield, or at Stamford Bridge? Well, this season you actually can. Drinking alcohol in the stands at Premier League games may still be illegal, but the Women's Super League is doing something different. And here's how we got there. Back in the 1980s, football had a serious image problem. The sport was plagued by violence, pitch invasions and beer-fuelled chaos. Then, in 1985, Margaret Thatcher's government stepped in. They introduced the Sporting Events Control of Alcohol Act, banning alcohol in view of the pitch across England and Wales. Since then, many fans and clubs have called for the law to be relaxed. But despite attempts to change things over the years, authorities just haven't been convinced fans can be trusted. But in January 2025, something did change. The Women's Championship, now called the WSL2, launched a trial allowing fans to drink in the stands. The reasoning? Well, fans at women's matches tend to behave differently. Less aggression, more family-friendly vibes. As a result, select WSL and WSL2 stadiums are now allowing fans to drink alcohol in view of the pitch. It's been a landmark move showing growing trust in fans and recognising that women's football is building its own culture. So could the men's game be the next to leave the 1980s behind? Well, maybe, if fans can prove they can handle a pint without pitching it at someone. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Until then, it's Bovril all around. Cheers to that.
Good morning, 6:34. It's Thursday, April the 30th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. The perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. I'm Jeff Stelling. Gabby's with us right through until 10 o'clock. Let's head to the phone lines. We just heard a fan there saying that they're concerned for Arsenal's run-in due to the fatigue they showed last night. 03717223344, the number to call. Do Arsenal have bigger issues than refereeing decisions? Ryan is a Man United fan. He wants to have his... I've got an idea where this is going. Morning, Ryan.
Morning, Ryan.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Gabby. Thanks for having me this morning. Firstly, Soccer Saturday, mate. It's missing you, Jeff.
Oh, thank you very much indeed, Ryan.
On to Arsenal. Obviously, last night, a couple of penalty decisions, whatever. Eze's probably should have stuck because he'd given it, and the handball's the handball. But I think Arsenal at the minute have not got, well, they have got leaders in there, but they're not actually leaders. You've got Odegaard on there. He wouldn't be the captain in any Premier League side, not a single side. He's got no...
Oh, cut off in your prime, Ryan. Oh, we've got you back, mate. Yeah, go on, we've got you back. We lost you for a moment or two. You were just saying that Odegaard wouldn't have been a captain for any other Premier League club.
No, you've got Rice, Saliba, Gabriel, actual fighters in there that look like they want to fight City, they want to fight Athletic. But Odegaard's, you seen him after the City game, is just completely done. He took that as, that's it, we're not going to win it anymore. And it takes people like Declan Rice to tell him that it's not over yet. I just think, whatever he's captain in that side, Arsenal won't win a single thing.
Ryan, thank you very much indeed. Gabby, is the role of a captain important these days?
It is important, yeah, but captains captain in different ways.
Yeah.
I played under captains. I was captain myself at the time. Some are shouters and screamers. Some are captains by their performances. Look at Harry Kane. Harry Kane's a captain by scoring goals, getting assists, Jeff, doing his job. Sometimes Odegaard, for instance, is not the sole captain you'd imagine that's shouting and screaming in the dressing room. Maybe a Declan Rice would, a Gabriel, a Saliba. But Arteta is sticking with Odegaard. Maybe in the future, Declan Rice will be. Maybe in the future, be England captain as well.
I mean, it's different these days, isn't it? Because they have leadership groups, for instance, in the dressing room.
We had them when I still played, Jeff.
Yeah.
There was 3 or 4 of us, senior pros, that ran the dressing room and ran most of what needed to be done at the football club as well. But I think that's a bit harsh on Odegaard. I think Odegaard looked like a leader against Manchester City, didn't he, in that game, the way he played. He was everywhere.
He's got to find more, though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got to do more.
Because we all remember a couple of seasons ago how fantastic he was. And I don't know what's happened, but
our captain getting taken off early in the second half is not a good sign.
No, not in a game of
big game.
Size. It was I didn't know that leadership groups went back that far, mate.
Yeah. 2002.
Yeah. Look, some huge news coming out of the world of golf last night. It's been reported that Saudi Arabia's PIF has decided they will no longer fund the Live Golf Tour. Yasser Al Rumayyan, the governor of PIF, also stood down as chairman of the tour. Now, next up for him is a trip to Newcastle. He's part of a contingent heading to the city to discuss, well, we're told, stadium plans and their long-term future. So what could all of this mean for the club and the fans? Joining us now for more is the Athletics Newcastle correspondent, Chris Waugh. Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, guys.
Chris, look, just first of all, does the fact that the Saudis are going to withdraw funding for Live Golf in any way influence what their view of their ownership of Newcastle United might be like in the future?
Well, we've all asked these questions, those who cover the club, and the emphatic answer from both the Newcastle side and also from those close to PIF is no, is that it's a different investment, that they will continue to push forward with Newcastle because it's a Premier League they want to be involved in, and they still believe that Newcastle can appreciate significantly in value. But when they are pulling out of Live Golf, when there is a lot of talk about sort of changing where their assets are being put and obviously what is happening in the Middle East right now and how that's affecting Saudi Arabia and PIF's own investments, then there will continue to be that doubt because theoretically they could pull out of owning Newcastle. But I suppose the difference is that pulling out the funding from Live Golf is slightly different to just pulling away from Newcastle. They'd look to sell Newcastle if that was the case, and you'd have thought they'd have won at least the 800 million or so that they've basically ploughed into the club if you include what they've invested subsequently to the money they paid for it. So I think it isn't directly comparable, but I understand exactly why a lot of people are asking the question and why a lot of Newcastle fans may have doubts given the concerns about the lack of infrastructure investment in the big ticket items at Newcastle so far, which really are the stadium and the new training ground.
Chris, do you reckon they've got any regrets for investing in Newcastle? I mean, because Newcastle aren't any closer, are they, to winning the Premier League, to winning the Champions League? We know the financial rules that are in place. You can't go and spend whatever you want. Do they have any regrets, do you reckon, on buying Newcastle?
I mean, I get exactly what you're saying. I think they are closer to winning it than when they took over,
Yeah.
but it's still a huge gap to bridge. I think regret's probably the wrong word. I think that maybe there was a naivety in their not understanding that you could just go and do this, whereas obviously in Live Golf it was throw billions at this, and it hasn't worked out, but the idea was to get some of the biggest golfers across, and eventually they managed to do that. Whereas with Newcastle United, the idea from the very start, I think there was a slight misconception that yes, they have said they wanted to be number one and they did want to win everything, but the idea was never just to throw endless amount of money at it. The idea is eventually they do want to get a return on their investment, but I think there was a sort of happy medium probably that they saw it, that they would be able to invest far more. There wouldn't be the financial regulations or restrictions that there have been, which has really prevented them from getting where they want to. So I think rather than regret, it's maybe a reassessment of what they actually think Newcastle is and how they can get there. I mean, David Hopkins, in the current CEO, I came on talkSPORT a few months ago, and he talked about this as well, that the desire is still to be in the conversation to be the best club in the world by 2030, and that is hyper ambitious. Some people will say it's delusional. But the ambition is there. It's just it doesn't quite align with the reality of where Newcastle are and where they can necessarily get to in the short term, given the finances. So I think regret's probably the wrong word. I think reassessment of what is possible in the next few years is probably more accurate.
So does that reassessment of what's possible in the next few years, it probably means, talking about the ground, talking about the training ground, talking about the facilities. Does it mean talking about the team's performance and about Eddie Howe as well?
Without doubt, yeah. I mean, Howe is going to be at Matfin Hall in Northumberland, where this meeting has taken place today. Newcastle and people inside Newcastle have tried to downplay the significance of it, saying it's a sort of annual event. They have done them before on the Amazon Prime documentary. That you saw them at Castle, but in some ways, them aggrandising that has made this feel like a bigger thing, and it is almost unique that the club would do this, have this sort of off-sighting where the 25 members of the ownership fly in. But part of the issue is if they are going to achieve what they want to achieve, they certainly need European revenue, and particularly Champions League revenue, and they're not going to have that next season. And with every passing game, Newcastle are sliding further down the table, even per position in the Premier League. That's worth a few £1 million, so that's less revenue next year. So yes, Howe will present. It's not a summit, as some as maybe have suggested, on Eddie Howe's future. That is not the only focus of this, but they will be looking for an explanation on exactly why this happened on the field.
Chris, we're having this convo last week as well. Maybe as well, Newcastle fans, they're on Eddie's back a little bit. Maybe Eddie Howe's thinking to himself, maybe I've took Newcastle as far as I can take them. Maybe at the end of the season, both the club and Eddie Howe say, shake hands, goes down as a legendary manager, and he moves on to a different challenge.
Yeah, I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility at all. He is very much involved in conversations about the future right now, and all of the indications publicly and privately is that he insists that he wants to continue, that he has had those questions of himself. Does he still have the drive? Does he have the capacity to rebuild? But I think that almost these last few games of the season in the last few weeks are both sides really working out, is this something we all want to continue with going forward? And maybe they will shake hands and move and go different ways, because maybe they just decide, that Howe has given so much, he doesn't have the energy or the wherewithal to really rebuild what has to be a big rebuild this summer. Newcastle need to sell a lot of players, they need to bring a lot in. This is almost like Newcastle 2.0 post takeover in terms of the 11. So that's not beyond the realms of possibility, and I still think it's the idea for a long while, or that the hope for a long while, is that Eddie Howe will start the 2026-27 season as Newcastle head coach. But it's a long way to get to that starting line, and I think we're still on the way to get to that starting point.
Chris, thanks very much.
Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
The Athletics Newcastle correspondent Chris Waugh there. More on that Live Golf story, by the way, with talkSPORT's golf correspondent Rupert Bell at 7:15 this morning. Quick text from Webbo says, morning, gents. I don't understand why everyone is going in on Arsenal.
Give it a rest.
I don't think they are, Webbo. I mean, I really don't. If the away goal rule was still a thing, everyone would be saying great result last night. Arsenal will beat Atletico Madrid at home. What I will say is I wouldn't have taken Gyökeres off last night. I would have started him at City. He's got 20 goals this season. What more can a striker do? Too many critics. Well, I'm not convinced by Gyökeres. 20 goals, 12 of them in the Premier League. 3 of those were penalties.
Yes.
What more can he do?
I think he's got a limit.
Yeah,
I mean, if he wants to go, Jeff, I think he's got a limit of how good he can be.
Yeah. I mean, just to compare, what more can he do, Webbo? He's got 12 Premier League goals. Erling Haaland's got 24.
Exactly.
That's what more he can do. But I don't think people are going in on Arsenal. I think most Arsenal fans, most football fans would still see that as a really good result last night. Right, here's what's to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Manage your Travis Perkins trade account online at travisperkins.co.uk or via the Travis Perkins app.
Arsenal fans, you'll find out from former Premier League ref Chris Foy if you're right to feel that you were robbed of a penalty last night. We'll also try and find out how on earth there are different rules for handball in Europe compared to the Premier League, and which one, if any, is the right one. You can have your say to Chris. Give us a call, 03717 223344. Tell us what your feelings are about those decisions. And that was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Get free next day track delivery. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app.
I can tell you we've got a massive update on Mykhailo Mudryk. He has been handed a 4-year doping ban by the Football Association. It happened earlier this year. That is the maximum, the same number originally that Paul Pogba got, by the way. And Mudryk has gone to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. I can read you a statement from the Court of Arbitration to Sport from the sources that have sent on-record confirmation to talkSPORT saying CAS confirms it's received an appeal by Mykhailo Mudryk against the Football Association, filed on the 25th of February 2026. The parties are currently exchanging written submissions and a hearing is yet to be sanctioned. Sources have subsequently told us at talkSPORT that the ban is 4 years, and Mykhailo Mudryk is hoping, using the same lawyers actually as Paul Pogba, to either get vindicated via the Court of Arbitration for Sport or, at least in a worst case scenario, have that ban reduced. Now, if, like Pogba, the ban was moved from 4 years to 18 months or 2 years, then because the provisional suspension that Mudryk has served counts towards that, he could, in theory, if successful, find himself back in action ahead of next season. But if he serves the full 4-year ban because CAS uphold the FA decision, then obviously his Chelsea future and maybe even his future in football becomes severely in doubt.
Good morning. It is It's 6:49 Thursday morning, April the 20th.
Lovely
This
day out
is
there.
talkSPORT Breakfast. It is a glorious sunny day. I think it's going to be very nice the rest of today and tomorrow. Hope so anyway. I'm Jeff Stelling. As your guest, Gabby Agbonlahor is with me. Here's a text from Tommy. It's, morning, Jeff. Big Arsenal fan. Got the tattoo and everything. Starting to see why everyone hates the fan base. Absolute whiners, negative and depressing. I've had enough of it. We're in a foot race with City for the title, with a better run in, and we're in the semi-final of the Champions League with a clean slate for the second leg at our gaff. As Troy would say, miles off it. Oh, Tommy, you are miles off it, mate. Miles off it. You were doing so well until that stage.
I know, you ruined it.
Absolutely. Headlines this Thursday morning. Martin Keown's had his say on the Eze penalty decision. Guess what he thought? Yep, correct. Simeone's actions on the sidelines, he says, the drama that he creates and the scenes around it, the referee in the end buckled under the pressure. Saudi Arabia will confirm today it's ending its financial backing of the Rebel Live Golf Tour. Players will be informed today. Money will be cut off at the end of the season. And Nottingham Forest face off with Aston Villa in the first leg of the Europa League semi-final live on talkSPORT tonight. The first ever Midlands derby in the competition.
Great part of the world.
Villa boss Unai Emery would agree with you, actually, Gabby, wouldn't he? He's been speaking in the media. He's made his views quite clear.
We need to win tomorrow. In football, is to win, again to win, and again to win, and again to win. And this is the only way you can survive in the future.
Why? Yeah, well, he's won this competition 4 times already, hasn't he? He is a specialist
And you know
when
what,
it
like,
comes to winning the Europa League.
You hear that, Jeff? He wants to win the away leg. Not some teams that take a draw and are happy with it. He wants to win at all costs, any game.
Yeah.
What a manager.
I mean, I think that in many ways, that we'll discuss this more later. The ball's very much in their court because they've almost secured a Champions League spot next season. 8 points ahead. Forest, on the other hand, 5 points off the drop with a scary-looking fixture list to come. You know, the decision about how strong to go, I think, is much more difficult for Vitor Pereira
100%.
than it is for Unai Emery.
I think he should rest players 100%. Survival is more important financially.
Yeah, love it. Right, Katie is back with us to talk about this man.
Frank Lampard! Oh! Pick that up. Frank Lampard blasts Chelsea into the lead for the first time. And is that the winning goal in this season's FA Cup final? He's not going to need him, is he? Frank Lampard has done it! A double for him. He's a champion. Chelsea are Premiership champions. Lampard and Terry lift the Champions League trophy for Chelsea.
Yeah, and we're talking to Frank Lampard because he's manager of Coventry.
Yes.
Who just won the championship rather than his Chelsea links.
Yes, so we are going to look through his managerial journey, starting in the Championship with Derby County back in 2018-29. He led them to the Championship playoff final in his debut season. Gabby, how important was this for Frank's early start of his managerial career?
Massively important because going to the Championship, and we all know how hard it is to get out of the Championship. I was at that game when they lost to Aston Villa, wasn't it, in the final? Unlucky not to win that game as well. But he's learnt a lot along the way, and I'm sure every job he's had, even though the jobs he's had at Chelsea and Everton, have given the experience to become a better manager. And what he's done at Coventry last season, so unlucky in that game against Sunderland, and what he's done this season has been absolutely outstanding.
Well, the next step on Frank's managerial journey was the homecoming to Chelsea 2019-2021. He was appointed during that transfer ban. He was brought to the club due to his ability to bring through young talent, as shown by Mason Mount and Harry Wilson at Derby. You know, his first stint at Stamford Bridge was initially viewed as a success as he got them into the top 4 that season. Jeff, do you think Frank came out of that stint in a positive light?
Well, yeah, as you said, what would Chelsea give right now to finish top 4?
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, he had a 50% plus win rate. I thought he did fantastically well. He blooded some brilliant youngsters who've gone out and have great careers as well. He's done fantastically. I've never had any doubts whatsoever about Frank Lampard as a manager.
Yeah. Step number 3 was the survival battle at Everton 2022-23. He returned to management a year later with struggling Everton. He kept them up in a dramatic final day fashion in his first season. He then unfortunately got sacked in his second season after a poor run of results. Now, I actually remember doing Frank's last ever interview as Everton manager, and I've got to say, Frank is always so brilliant in interviews, particularly in those moments where it's so difficult for both parties. You probably know what's going to happen, and Frank is always so professional. As for Everton, Gabby, do you think it was his fault, or do you think it just came at a very difficult time?
No, I think he done a good job. You know, he was brought in there to keep them up, and he done it. I remember that dramatic last day. The fans ran on the pitch, didn't they? Celebrating. That was massive for Everton to stay in the Premier League. And listen, his whole managerial career so far, like I said, he would have learnt so much from it. And even what he's doing now at Coventry, he would have learnt from mistakes, like we all do as players, as coaches, as managers. There would have been mistakes that he's made. And now he's doing such a great job at Coventry, and we can't wait to speak to him because me and Jeff have got so many questions to get out of him.
Well, let's talk about Coventry then. 2024 to the present day, after 18 months out of the game, he took over at Coventry in November 24. After that heartbreaking playoff semi-final loss that you spoke about there, Gabby, he stayed on and guided Coventry to this season's championship title. And what an amazing season they have had, finishing 11 points clear at the top of the table. And he's also been named championship manager of the season as well. So his stock is back at an all-time high.
Yes. Yeah.
Currently,
they might finish more than 11 clear. They've still got a game to go.
Exactly. Yeah. So taking Coventry back to the Premier League for the first time in 25 years. Jeff, how do you think he and Coventry will get on in the Premier League next season?
Oh, honestly, Katie, I think that's a question for another day. I think
Too early.
It is. We're not finished the championship season yet. I think what needs to be said is Frank's done an unbelievable job. You mentioned the Sunderland defeat last year. How has he managed to raise those players' morale back to the heights of this season? 11 points clear, you're absolutely right. You know what? Their net spend, I believe, is less than £3 million.
Wow.
It's staggering. So I want to let Frank and Coventry's players and their fans just glory in the moment rather than look ahead to next season. If you push me, they'll look at Sunderland and say, look at what they've done. We can do that too.
Yeah.
I've got some very good players as well. They've got players that, when I watch Coventry, I look at them and say, they should be playing in the Premier League.
Yeah, they're a team. There's real togetherness and unity that he's built
Mason
there.
Clark, you've got Hadji Wright, but I love Rodoni. I love his late runs into the box, goal-scoring midfielder, and I'm sure he's a player that has learnt a lot off the manager. Imagine having Frank Lampard as your manager. I always think about this when I see players. You've got Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard as your coaches, even a Bayern Munich, Vincent Kompany. Imagine what you can learn of these serial winners. Imagine if you're a goal-scoring midfielder, Rodoni, what you can learn from making runs into the box from Frank Lampard. Imagine Frank Lampard pinging balls around the training ground, and you're just like, whoa, the respect you've got for him. I think Coventry will do well, and I think Frank Lampard will have so many links, and he will understand the right players to get in, the right characters, the right signings that want to play for Coventry.
And he's built a real feel-good factor around the club
and loads
as well,
of these players want to test themselves in the Premier League as well, don't they, Jeff? You know what it's like. You think you're a great player. You do well in the Championship. I want to go to the Premier League. So I think you'll have faith in the players that have done it.
Yeah, be interesting to see which way they go. Obviously, whether you go. I mean, Sunderland basically bought a new team.
Yes.
You know, when they were promoted, I think the suggestions are that Coventry will give opportunities to a lot of the squad who've taken them to the Premier League.
I do feel sorry for his family in the summer though, because that mobile phone, Jeff, that'll be going off, won't it? Next to the pool. It'll be in the pool, out the pool. Who's that? What player is this? It'll be definitely a busy summer for Frank, bringing in new players.
Yeah, but what a lovely summer it should be as well. Katie, thanks very much indeed. Coventry manager Frank Lampard with us for half an hour at 8:45 this morning. Spike, who's an LFC fan. Spike, I got your text. I'm not reading it out because I'd be too embarrassed, but thank you very much indeed, mate. Coming up, we turn our attention back to the story that is going to dominate the morning, where Arsenal are done to by the officials. We'll be discussing that next.
Unai Emery to Real Madrid.
Oh dear, my drink.
He's an experienced Spaniard whose heart is open to a move back home. He's enjoyed his time in the Midlands. His current partner is begging him to stay. But sometimes you just can't say no to something bigger and better. So will he ditch his babe in boring Birmingham for a magnificent madam in Madrid? Unai Emery to Real Madrid.
I don't think he'd want to go
Are you
to Real
swiping
Madrid.
left or swiping right?
Swiping left.
Hold on a minute. Did you
Did
you just say? Did you just say?
Do you know what?
He wouldn't want to
Can
go
I-
to
can I
Real.
explain my
No,
reasons?
No, you don't get to explain
Did you
your
just
reasons.
say he wouldn't want to
Can
go
I
to Real
explain my
Madrid?
reasons,
And the reason for that would be?
Because at Aston Villa, he runs the show. It's his club. Real Madrid is chaos. Look how the players treated Xavi Alonso.
It's Real Madrid.
Vinny Jr. walked off the pitch and went down the tunnel.
Real
And when he got taken off, it's not work for Arbeloa. It's a bit of a toxic job at the
It's the
moment.
biggest club in the world. One of them, certainly.
After Rangers.
After Glasgow Rangers, yes.
I don't think it works. I feel like what he's got going on at Aston Villa, he runs the club, he decides every decision. To go to Real Madrid and what? You could be there for 6 months and get the sack.
Is this because you want this to happen? You don't want this move to happen?
I don't
Because-
see. That's why I'm swiping left, because I don't want it to happen.
No,
I love him.
I don't see
We
it
can't do what you want. We think what you think is going to happen.
I don't think it will happen. I think he's got something good going on at Aston Villa. He's got a great chance of winning Europa League, Champions League football, hopefully. Why would you want to go to Madrid? Last time Ali was there, it was raining, wasn't it, Ali?
See, I've been playing this game for months now, and I've been getting it wrong. So it's not what you hope happens. It's what you think will happen.
Would you give up the chance to play for your country to become a global star of your sport and earn big money doing it? Well, that's the choice facing rugby players right now because of the proposed new R360 League. Led by 2003 World Cup winner Mike Tindall, it's already being backed by major investors. Its goal? Turn rugby union into franchises, not clubs, add some serious cash and a bit of razzmatazz. Or in their words, make the game more watchable, accessible and entertaining, especially for younger audiences. But there's been a huge pushback, a massive no way from the current game. So what exactly is R360 and why is it controversial? Rugby union is facing challenges on a domestic level right now. There's huge financial instability across even top-tier clubs. The English game has seen leading clubs like Wasps, London Irish and Worcester go out of business in the top flight. The Welsh provincial game is in total disarray too. R360 says they would remove what are easily some clubs' biggest expenses, i.e. the big stars, and therefore make more of them profitable. So the plan is to inject a new lease of life into the sport. But how exactly? Top stars of the men and women's game playing for a franchise-based league with fixtures in cities like London, Miami, Tokyo and Lisbon. Each city would host a tournament featuring all the franchises during a short 3-month season. And though no players have officially confirmed, reports suggest around 200 have signed pre-contracts, some worth up to 750 grand. And if that's the pre-contract, you can imagine where the full wages will get to. Problem is, the rest of rugby says no. In fact, no way. The national unions from England, Scotland, Ireland, France, Italy, South Africa, New Zealand and Australia have declared any player joining R360 will be banned from test selection. World Rugby's also not approved the league. Many fear it echoes football's failed European Super League, a top-down, money-driven idea that could damage the sport's traditions. So is it dead already? Well, rugby union is at a crossroads. Some may be against it, but we know others are being swayed by the cash. So will everything work itself out? Or after the European Super League and Live Golf, have we got sport's next big scandal on our hands?
Good morning, 7:05. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with On the Clock. Shop the upgrade event today, and you'll get an extra £500 when you part exchange your card. Don't miss your chance to boost your valuation. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with us. Gabby has apparently let the producers know he's not too happy that we haven't mentioned he was the one who booked Frank Lampard for talkSPORT Breakfast. Well done, Gabby.
Ignore them, mate. Anything for the company. I'm a company man.
Absolutely.
Always.
Well, I'm out to pay you. You should be. Honestly, I've never known anybody be on the radio as much as you. I was listening to you on Drive last night.
I know, Jeff. I know.
Don't let them tease you.
When you've got 20 kids to feed you, you have to keep working.
Don't let them tease you, those quizzes. I'm going to text you some.
Oh, honestly, mate, you know what? The problem was I didn't have my ears in.
Yeah.
Normally they give me the answers.
Yeah.
I struggled with the Beatles, didn't I? That wasn't great.
You did struggle with the Beatles, no.
I got one.
Steve, as a Borough fan, he said, we've had a great season so far. Couldn't be happier, but the football Frank Lampard has had Coventry playing has been nothing short of phenomenal and a pleasure to watch. You're not kidding. I mean, they've scored 4s and 5s, 7, I think, against QPR as well.
So
loads
many players in
of
double
goals.
figures, well, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Now, it's been a night dominated by refereeing drama on talkSPORT as Arsenal grabbed a draw in the semi-final of the Champions League first leg.
Erdegaard, Zubamendi again. Oh, it's a shove inside the area. Penalty to Arsenal. What a moment in a game where next to nothing is happening in either penalty area. Addresses it right foot in. Scores! Victor Gyökeres with the goal.
Absolutely fantastic penalty from Victor Gyökeres. Ice in his veins.
Right footed from Llorente. Scuffed it. Claims for a handball.
You know what it's like in this competition. The moment it hits the hands, regardless, they usually give a penalty.
Penalty has been given. Julian Alvarez will try and do the same for Atletico Madrid. And has drilled it left-footed. Straight past right. Didn't give him a chance.
You can't get anywhere near that. It's a great penalty from Julian Alvarez. Game on.
Played in towards Ezra. He's gone down inside the penalty area. Oh, he's given a penalty. Danny McAlee has been called over. And the referee's going to disallow it. And Arsenal don't have the penalty.
I'm not quite sure that's the right decision.
Penalty drama all round. Arsenal get a 1-1 draw. They're going to have to play better than they did for large swathes of the second half. But they're in the box seat to try and get to their first Champions League final for 20 years. It is finished. Atletico 1, Arsenal 1.
Well, talkSPORT's voice of live football, Adrian Durham, who was inside the Metropolitano last night, claimed Arsenal were robbed. Gabby, is that a step too far?
I think it's a step too far, yes. Like I said earlier, Jeff, when you look at the foul on Eze, is there contact? Yes. But is every contact a foul? No, it's not. So for me, the right decision was no penalty. I don't agree with Simeone on the sideline, putting pressure on the referee, the VAR screen, but being in that position many times, Eze could have stayed on his feet.
Yeah, Chuddy says clear and obvious isn't looking at the replay 20 times. It was 13. Maybe the ref should just look at it once. VAR is a joke. Well, I'll be honest, it happens in this country. It happens in the Premier League where officials look at the screen and see replays multiple
It's
times.
like you're finding a way to not give the goal.
Finding a way.
How many angles can I see?
Absolutely. But Chuddy, I completely agree with you about VAR. Chris Foy will be on to talk about those decisions a little later in the show. Let's hear from an Arsenal fan. Greg's a Gunners fan. Morning, Greg.
Good morning, Greg.
Morning, chaps. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. So, what did you make of the penalty decision, then the decision to turn it over?
Listen, to be perfectly honest, if that's the night before and Harry Kane is in the box and he gets there, he gets his foot there first, he gets there before the defender, everyone is waxing lyrical, saying this is a penalty. He's a genius in the box. He knew it was coming. He was alert. He used all of his things. And also, Gabby,
hello, mate.
We're going to test you here. We're going to see for what you really think here. Yeah. Because if that's tonight and that's Morgan Rogers, you are screaming blue murder that is a penalty.
I'm not,
There's
mate.
Contact.
Greg, that's a great point, mate. That is a great point.
Greg, you know what?
Gabby, be honest.
I'm being honest. I'm not, mate. I don't like diving. I don't. We've had players
he didn't dive.
against us many times that have dived. To me, in that position,
there's no contact. No.
Okay, look at the one 2 minutes earlier. Lookman stayed on his feet because he wants to get a shot off. Eze's touch is going out of the box to an Atletico Madrid player.
I give you that he's bought it. But
it's not enough to go down.
Contact.
Yeah, but it's not enough to go down. That's what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but it's contact. And like I said, if that's England in the World Cup and Harry Kane's got there first, you lot are saying that is genius forward play.
I want us to win the World Cup fairly. I'm a fair Englishman.
Not fairly, because he hasn't dived. And then you've just said, so you're contradicting yourself, because you said that he's not changed his mind and he shouldn't be changing his mind and giving in to the crowd and Simeone.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm saying, like, watching that, for me, it's not a penalty.
Greg, look, it's a great point, and you know, you're talking about Morgan Rogers tonight, and if you were here in the studio, you would see the length of Gabby's nose right now. It is growing by the moment, mate. Thank you very much indeed, Greg. Right, for more on the drama last night, I'm delighted to say that Arsenal writer James Benge joins us now. Morning, James.
Good morning, James.
Morning, how you guys doing?
Yeah, we're doing good. Look, I mean, obviously we're talking non-stop about VAR. You know, it overshadows what, on the face of it, is a pretty decent result for Arsenal.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be pleased about if you kind of look at the relatively weakened nature of that Arsenal 11, especially in attack. It sort of feels like, it always felt like if you can get through this tie and you can get yourself a 90-minute game where you can win at the Emirates, then that's a really good day. And I don't think Arsenal would feel like they had anything to complain about if it wasn't for that penalty. But a really good result. And, you know, there's plenty of ways of getting into a Champions League final. And I think this is the start of a relatively encouraging one for Arsenal.
James, what do you think of Odegaard being taken off as the captain so early in the second half? Didn't look happy on the bench when he come off.
Yeah, it was quite strange because I thought he was playing well, but there were a few moments where it looked like he was taking these knocks and bumps and niggles. I don't know if that was why he came off. We haven't heard that from Arteta. But if it was tactical, I thought it kind of backfired. I felt without Odegaard on the pitch, Arsenal couldn't really control their attacks when they got them. They couldn't keep the ball for as long as they had in the first half. And kind of when he went off, the pressure only mounted from Atletico. I know he's not kind of being quite the player he was in seasons past, but if that was a selection decision, I think it was the wrong one.
Do you not think Eze looks sharp, though, at times when you come on?
He looked really sharp. I think I would maybe have brought him on for Martinelli instead anyway. But the great thing about Eze is he gambles with possession and he goes on the attack immediately. But sometimes that can be the problem as well, especially when he's picking the ball up in central areas in the Arsenal half of the pitch. I thought there were a couple of occasions where his poor touch also kind of opened Atleti up to counter on Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting contrast, isn't it, between the game the night before with PSG and Bayern when, you know, anytime any player got the ball or even didn't have the ball, their first thought was to go forward and no one would criticise them. But I just wonder, James, about, you know, whether it might be dangerous to think that this tie is over yet. You know, second half, Griezmann hit the bar. Lookman had a glorious chance for a couple of good David Raya saves as well. Do you feel it's still in the balance?
Oh, yeah, certainly still in the balance. Tilting towards Arsenal, but very much in the balance, because what we saw in the Metropolitano is there are, like you said, Jeff, several players there that can win the tie for Atletico Madrid, players that can sort of conjure something out of nothing. Really impressed with Lookman, and well, I guess we'll have to see if Julian Alvarez is fit, won't we? If he is on the pitch at the Emirates, that's always going to be that warning sign for Arsenal. I mean, you can see why Arsenal want him, that's for sure. It was a fantastic performance.
Yeah, brilliant. James, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, James.
Cheers, bye-bye.
Nick wants to open the biggest can of worms ever.
Oh.
He's just said, in my opinion, there doesn't even need to be contact. If you're running full pelt and someone sticks their leg out in front of you and hasn't won the ball, it has still illegally made life more difficult for you because you have to jump over and avoid the ball. If you genuinely try to do that, that slows you down and you get tackled by somebody else. Should be a free kick or a pen.
It's not netball, mate.
Oh, Nick, we are not going there. Can you imagine if we're giving penalties and fouls for challenges where there is no contact? I mean, for goodness sake.
Incredible, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely not, Nick. Our thanks to the Arsenal writer James Benge there. Coming up, news broke overnight that the Saudis are withdrawing their funding from Live Golf. What does that mean for the likes of Rahman, Hatton and DeChambeau? We'll find out next.
It's not the first time that Jack's been caught up in off-field issues, if you can call this an off-field issue. Way back in March 2020, during the first COVID-19 lockdown, he was involved in an incident in Solihull, a car crash, 24 hours after urging fans to stay home on social media. He ended up pleading guilty to careless driving at the time. He was fined over £80,000. He was handed a 9-month driving ban after the incident. A year later, after a 7-0 win over Leeds, Pep Guardiola was said to be unhappy with the condition of both Foden and Grealish, turning up at a training session and not in the best of condition. After their treble win, we know that Jack Grealish was lionised by a certain section of the general public. He was on a bit of a drinking bender, but Pep seemed to be quite relaxed about it. If you fast forward to March 2025, he was spotted in Newcastle following an FA Cup win. He visited a social club in Washington near Newcastle on a Sunday. He was described as a total gentleman by locals. He posed for photographs, but then when he left the pub, he seemed somewhat unsteady on his feet. He looked a bit worse for wear. And Pep ultimately was asked about that and the sequence of events that led up to that.
They know what they have to do. So day off is day off. It's no training. They are a private life. They will do whatever they want. I'm not going to control what they do in the private life. So I judge what I have to see with the pitch, the training sessions, and the performance in the game. That's what I judge. I judge the players.
Good morning, Mr. talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with me. Charlie in Shardlow says, morning chaps, VAR works and can improve the game. It's the officials who use it inconsistently and not quickly enough who are the problem. I don't agree, Charlie. I don't think it does work at all. Matt, the Peterborough fan, says, I don't think either one was a penalty. Well, there were three shouts.
And Jokeris' one was definitely.
Jokeris is definitely a penalty. But really surprised they overturned the Eze one. I don't understand the rules anymore. Matt's, join the club, mate. Join the club. So many fans calling and texting in with their thoughts on the decisions last night. Let's take another quick call. Clive's an Arsenal fan. He wants to have it say specifically to Gabby. Morning, Clive.
Good morning, Clive.
Morning, Clive.
Don't be scared to speak, mate. Come on, Clive. Clive.
Well, there you are. You've scared him off already.
Come on, I don't bite.
What a shame, especially when he wanted to take you
Looking
to
forward to
task,
that as well, Jeff.
but,
Never mind.
Never mind. Okay, now one of the other big stories this morning is about the future of Live Golf. Being in jeopardy. It was revealed last night the tour plans to inform its players that they will be losing the funding of Saudi Arabia's PIF after 5 years, reportedly around £8 billion spent on it. Huge losses. This would cause huge disruption to the world of golf. The end of Live could be near. What does it mean for the likes of Tyrrell Hatton, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm? It's being reported that players and agents are already on the phone to the DP World and PGA Tours to try and figure out a path back. Well, that may or may not be the case. Joining us now for more is talkSPORT's golf correspondent Rupert Bell. Morning, Rupert.
Morning, Jeff. Morning,
Rupert.
Gabby.
We're all
Big day
correspondents.
today.
Yeah.
Well, big day. We have a bit. Well, forget the royal bit, but it's what's going on this evening. It's quite important in my life.
I'm a bit nervous, Rupert. Are you, mate?
I'm terrified.
Yeah, same here, mate.
We suffer from semi-finalitis, which is a bit of a worry. So
Look,
anyway,
you're not
that
as
aside.
you're not as nervous as the live golfers at the moment. Is this the end of live golf?
It certainly looks as if they're going to have problems to carry it forward in any way that it is now, and the kind of money that has been available to these players will just not be there because it's a tough economic climate. They say they can try and get some sort of funding. But the likes, as you allude to, the big star names, John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, Bryson DeChambeau, well, they will be expecting big bucks to be continuing to play on the Live Golf Tour. And that just doesn't seem like it's going to happen. You know, when it first launched with the Saudi money, huge sums, the consensus was they didn't really care about it trying to be profitable. But now, a few years down the line, suddenly the world has changed on a large scale, and suddenly Saudi are looking at everything they're investing in. And they can see, yes, it does get big crowds at some of the events, that it actually isn't really changing the dial in terms of golf. The team concept has not worked. However much they try and build it up, it's manufactured, and that never works. You need, for team events, to have soul. And if you've got, that's what the whole point. That's what football's about, team events, and other Ryder Cup. There is a sort of history, tradition. So that side of it's not worked. John Rahm's obviously had huge amounts of money, but he hasn't paid his fines, and that's why he's not playing on the DP World Tour. Yet he could easily pay his fines, and then there would be some way back. Tyrrell Hatton has paid his fines. That's why we see him playing on the DP World Tour. But it's a muddy waters now for those lesser lights on the Live Golf Tour. How do they find and be welcomed back? Because
I was going to say that, Rupert. Will they be welcomed back to the PGA Tour by the players?
It's not just the TP World Tour, the PGA Tour, it's the DP World Tour as well, because they will feel, well, you've made your bed, you've now got to lie in the consequences. But, of course, Bryson DeChambeau is a different beast. He's got a huge global following. He does create a frisson of excitement whenever he turns up. So I'm sure there will be some accommodation, but it's not going to be easy. We've seen with Brooks Koepka, he's not welcome back to all events. He's now got to play his way into the signature events. Patrick Reed has given up his time on Live, but he could get back now, but he's worked his way now. He's leading the Order of Merit.
But Rupert, from a fan's point of view, we all want to see the best players playing in tournaments against each other, don't we?
We do, and that's why something will happen. But, you can understand why the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour say, well, we've got to suffer. You've got to suffer the consequences. But yes, they will be playing. John Rahm will be in the majors. Bryson DeChambeau will be in the majors because they have exemptions and their world rankings allows them to get into the majors. But it's the lesser lights. There's a talented Tom McKibben, one of a very talented young Northern Irish golfer. Well, yes, by going to Live, you feel like he has put his career in a bit of a limbo land. Yet if he'd stayed with the DP World Tour, he'd probably be now already playing on the PGA Tour because he might have been able to qualify through that system and got his tour card and be now making millions for however long he wants to. So I think it's going to be an interesting period. The crowds at Live events have been fantastic. In South Africa, Adelaide, and then even when we go to the JCB for the Live event at the end of July, they get huge crowds. So there is an appetite for something like Live, not necessarily the team aspect, but the show that they put on is something that I think the rest of the golf world can learn from, but everything else is just it's still in an unedifying mess.
I've got to be honest, Rupert, I wouldn't go to my local municipal to watch it. It has zero appeal. And I've been, there's a question here, what will Liv's legacy be? Well, it'll be forgotten, won't it, in 5 years' time?
big prize money on the PGA Tour. It has changed the levels of prize money. You look at what the PGA Tour players are now playing for on a regular basis, although it's a much transformed PGA Tour, like the signature events are limited to 72 players, I think it is, and there's one this week. So it has changed the landscape in terms of prize money because they had to protect their asset and make sure players didn't go off to live. And once there was no longer the big names going, you then felt the writing was on the wall for live. And Jeff, I don't think we are necessarily the target market for the live golf audience. Okay, Jeff? We have we may be a little, so therefore it is a younger, louder, a more vociferous crowd.
Are you on the live payroll by any chance, Rupert?
Absolutely not.
No.
I've covered events. I'm not. I personally, I remember asking I went to the first couple of press conferences, and there was lots of debate about the sort of from the moral aspect of the whole thing, and players then saying they were going to change the game. No, they weren't. They were never. It was never more than the money for the players. Yet Liv's great line was, "Look, we're going to change the golfing landscape and grow the game." The one thing they've done is they have made it a more global event with big events, as I say, in South Africa, Australia. They're going to Korea. The PGA Tour of America is very insular. And I think what the one lesson that may be is that the DP World Tour could maybe and should find a way to tap in to the much more global nature of the sport, but they don't have the funds to match what Liv was offering the players. So at the moment, it's going to be a tough landscape for the DP World Tour as well to provide the sort of funds that the players were playing for on Liv Golf.
Rupert, enjoy tonight.
Good luck, Rupert.
Well,
Thanks, mate.
Fingers crossed.
Up the villa, Rupert.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or forests, depending on which point of view you're looking at it from. Drew's texted about VAR. Only person who should decide to use VAR is the referee on the pitch. If he's not sure, he should ask to look at it again. Having too many opinions just makes it even worse, and there are longer wait times, ruins the flow of the game. It's quite an interesting point, isn't it? If the referee is unsure.
But I do think, Jeff, I do get it, people's hate for VAR, but if the people that are in VAR, referees, doing their job properly, it would be good. If you go to VAR and you'll say, listen, you got 30 seconds. You've seen it. Okay, I'm going to give you the right outcome. But it's when they take long and they get it wrong themselves, and they put the referee in a position where, who do I listen to? How many people are talking in my ear? That's the problem.
Well, one thing I completely agree with you is, by the way, is the VAR should not be giving an opinion at all. No. Just say, come and look at this, have another look at that incident.
Leave it to you.
Leave it to you completely. Yes. Not influencing.
No. I think it should. I think it should. No.
Exactly.
You should have another look at this one. You should have another look. Okay, run over. No, stick to my decision. Or you give a foul or a penalty. No problem.
Yeah, completely. Coming up, wouldn't be a morning moaning about refereeing decisions without speaking to Chris Foy. Stay tuned. Chris is coming next.
We'll keep our eye on Newcastle. Members of PIF travel into Newcastle this week for their annual meeting with the club's departmental heads. How high on the agenda do you think Eddie Howe's name is going to be, Alex?
I think it has to be pretty high because it's been a disappointing season. There's no two ways about that. They're a lot lower down the Premier League table than he would have expected at the start of the campaign. Looks like they're not going to get European football at all next season, which might help them in the long run because I think they found it a struggle balancing Champions League and domestic ambitions. But if I was Eddie Howe, I'd have some questions for the owners. You know, there's players who want out of that football club. Anthony Gordon being one. Sandro Tonali, I don't think it was a coincidence that his agent was leaking stories that Arsenal were interested in January. Tino Livramento, I'm told, has no intention of signing a new contract. But they've got to handle this summer a lot better than they did last. The Alexander Isak saga was allowed to drift on for far too long. If they were going to sell him all along, as I understand was the case, they should have done it much earlier in the window. They would have been in a better position to get top targets, because if Newcastle fans think that Nick Voltemada and Johan Wissa were anywhere near the top of Newcastle's list of potential options at the start of the summer, they're deluded. I think the recruitment was poor. I think the handling of the Isak situation was poor. And I would say be careful what you wish for, because this is a manager who's come in, he inherited a club who were battling against relegation. He's took them into the Champions League not once but twice. He's ended that long wait for domestic silverware. And I don't think he's necessarily getting the credit he deserves because they've had a bad season.
It's hard to disagree with anything Alex has said there, isn't it?
I think that's right, but I also think there is a point where someone's voices become less effective than they once were before.
It's not often you associate fan power with Chelsea Football Club, but one of the shining examples of it lies with a group called the Chelsea Pitch Owners. And they've proved to be the thorn in the side of owners past and present who've been dead set on moving stadiums to a larger, more lucrative piece of land. Essentially, the supporters group holds the freehold to the land on which Stamford Bridge sits. Former owner Ken Bates set it up at a time where some unruly property developers tried to evict the club from their ground. In order to prevent this, he established the CPO as a company that owned the pitch and offered the fans the chance to buy a share for £100. As well as that, they also own the rights to the name Chelsea Football Club, so if any owner wants to take them elsewhere, they can't be called Chelsea without the approval from the CPO. Now, in 2011, Roman Abramovich tried and failed to move them away from Stamford Bridge, and this has set a precedent for Todd Bowley and the current power brokers at Chelsea. They know any plan which involves moving from Stamford Bridge will require CPO approval from the now 13,000 fans who own it. There are fans who are concerned that if they stay at the bridge, they'll be left behind their domestic and European rivals who are moving to more commercially successful stadiums. But for the heritage and history lovers, Stamford Bridge is one of the iconic English stadiums, and to move away would be a grave mistake. It might not be as flashy as others, but stadiums like it have something about them that cannot be replaced. One thing's for sure, if Bowley wants to take Chelsea away from their home, he'll have to go through the CPO first.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Buy a used car and get a free 2-year service plan, plus get an extra £500 when you part exchange. Shop the upgrade event today. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with me. Of course, a lot of talk about last night's Champions League game and whether or not Arsenal should have had a penalty, whether the referee was right to overturn his initial decision, whether Ben White was correctly penalised for handball during the course of that. And I tell you what, so far, based on text, opinion completely divided, which tells you just what a tough task the officials actually have.
He's funny though, isn't it? The message is, Richard, the Spurs fan, clear dive, Chelsea fan, VAR's great, right decision.
I know. Spurs fan opinion of the Arsenal penalty. This is from Graham. He said, should have stood. Referee was in a good position and gave it. I personally don't think it was a penalty. It was very soft, but I know why it was given. Well, I'm a bit lost there, Graham. So you thought that it was right that it stood, but you didn't think it was a penalty itself. And I tell you what, that confusion just illustrates what the heck is going on. So it is time for this.
You're unbelievable. It's a shocking decision. Unbelievable, Jeff. Unbelievable, Jeff. They're trying to re-referee the game. That's not what it's there for.
Jeff, you will not believe this.
Keep your flag down.
I told you. No way. I told you. VAR, go away. Dave Bassett will not believe this. It's a goal. It's a goal. The crowd cannot believe it. What? Oh, miles over the line. Boo! That's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
That isn't a penalty. I'm absolutely astounded.
You're unbelievable, Jeff.
Right. Let's try and clear it all up as we say a very good morning to former Premier League referee Chris Foy. Morning to you, Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're always welcome, mate. The man in the most unenviable seat in the house. So let's start with the decision to overturn the Arsenal penalty. Correct decision or not?
No, I don't think so. I think the starting point for this is the penalty is given on field, and for the VAR to intervene, he's got to have clear evidence that the referee has made that clear and obvious error, and that's what we talk about. You know, you can clearly see there's contact on the boot of Eza who goes to ground, and as I said, the on-field decision is penalty. Was it a clear and obvious error? In my opinion, no, but he recommended a review, and quite clearly the referee went to the review area, looked at it and changed his decision, which surprised me.
Is every bit of contact a foul though, Chris?
Not necessarily, no, Gabby, but he gave the penalty on field, and that's always the starting point.
Do you feel, Chris, that the VAR has too much influence? The natural fact he should say to the referee, come and take another look at that at the screen, but go no further than that, and then let the referee make the decision without being influenced by his view?
Well, what the protocol says is that it has to be a clear and obvious error to recommend a review, and that's when the referee goes to the monitor. And what shouldn't be misinterpreted is the fact that the final decision always rests with the referee. So he could have quite clearly gone to the monitor last night, looked at it and gone, you know what, I'm happy with what decision I made initially, the penalty, and I'll stay with it, because he has the final judgment on decisions.
I think as well, when you look at the penalty that PSG got and the Ben White incident last night, they need to get hold of this, don't they, Chris? It's going to get out of hand. We were talking earlier, me and Jeff, off air, that like the World Cup, I'm very worried about it, because a team might win the World Cup from a horrendous handball decision.
Do you know what, Gabby? Handball causes me no end of concern. You know, I get asked more about handball than anything else. I think we're in a pretty good place in English football, especially the Premier League with handball. I think the first one in the PSG game, I sort of watched this and went, I don't understand how this can be given as a penalty. And I haven't heard from anyone who said it was a penalty, and I was really surprised. In a way, I can understand the Ben White. I mean, the first one, of course, was a VAR. You know, it wasn't given on field. The second one, when we look at last night, the referee gave the penalty on field. Ben White, the ball travels from distance. He's facing the ball. There's a slight deflection, and his arm's away from the body. And there's a lot of people saying, yes, that is handball. Some people say not, but it's given on field. And the VAR won't unpick that. So I understand that one. But the one from the PSG Bayern game has left me a little bit perplexed, to be honest.
Do you really think we're in a good position in this country on handball?
Yeah, I think we've got a really... listen, Jeff, there's going to be incidents where people will refer to handball, but I think in relation to where we are when we see stuff in, you know, UEFA competitions, I don't think we see too many penalties given for handball.
Well, what should happen to people like Diego Simeone trying to influence the referee on the touchline? Is that just part and parcel of the game, or is that a line that you step over which should mean punishment?
Well, the fourth official obviously is in the vicinity there in the technical area who's monitoring.
Good luck to him, eh?
Yeah. So somebody said to me once, when you do that job, Chris, you need a cattle prod. But in those competitions, they have a referee observer and they have a match delegate who will make a full and comprehensive report of everything that happens, for the whole occasion from start to finish. And they'll report their findings to the committee in UEFA. And if there's any additional sort of punishment or advice to be dished out, they will do that in the fullness of time.
I think as well, Chris, Jeff's totally right when he says when the referees do run over and look at the screen, they can't have 2-3 people in their ear saying, I think it is, have another look. It should just be, maybe have a look at this one more time, go over, don't need 13 angles of it, and let the referee make his decision. Maybe there's too much pressure on the referee.
I think it works both ways. I think if you're producing the best angles of the incident that you want reviewing, I think that really helps. And we want it to be quicker. I understand that. I mean, the longer it goes on, people start to say, well, if it's taking that long, it's not clear and obvious. But we want it to be correct, but also we want it to be quick. And getting those two together sometimes is difficult. And checks do take, some checks do take a long time. But in the main, they are done fairly quickly. I think the one last night could have been done a little bit quicker, to be fair.
Yeah, you could have too many angles, can't you, Chris? I mean, there were instances last night. There was one angle which shows that quite clearly Eze's been trodden on, but from other angles, it looked like there's virtually no contact whatsoever. I feel like you can have too many different angles.
Yeah, that's down to the VAR, the AVR, and the replay operator to find those best angles, the one that actually proves or disproves the offence. And sometimes that does take a little bit of time. But I think, referring back to that incident, I was surprised when he turned it over.
Well, we're giving you a really soft time today, Chris.
I was due one, Jeff, wasn't I?
No, you're an ex-referee. You're never due one, mate. Chris, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, fellas. Have a great day. Cheers now.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced that everything's hunky-dory with handball in the Premier League, by the way.
It's better than it is in European competition. Still not.
Well, it is. The problem is that the interpretations are so different. It's ludicrous. Same game, for goodness sake. The laws should be interpreted in the same way, wherever you are.
Yeah, but you have to now, if you're a manager, like tonight, if you're a defender, put your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
Just do it. Because I'd rather your hands be on your back than your hand be next to your side and a penalty is given. It's incredible watching Gabriel last night, hands behind his back.
Yeah.
He's got no. We used to hammer defenders for doing it, didn't we?
Yeah.
But now they've got no choice.
Neil's masters of reaction. Ash, the Newcastle fan, says, morning, Jeff and the Gab father. I made my own VAR decision last night. I switched off the Arsenal Ball Fest 15 minutes in and watched the snooker instead. Best decision ever made by VAR, he says. There are lots like that. William in Inverness says no affiliation to either team. So Eze dived. Simple as that. He went down anticipating contact coming. There was the slightest bit of contact on his boot. Agreed. Absolutely no reason for him to fall down in that manner. Correct decision made at the end. Matt said, I honestly think there's a massive problem in the VAR coaching the ref on why the decision is wrong. Just tell him to review it and stay quiet. And Matt, I could not agree anymore.
Do you know how hard it is to be rolling around like Eze did? You know how much force you need for a player like Eze to fall over like that? That's the problem now, is that players will just go over with the slightest bit of touch. We see it all the time. We've seen Bruno Fernandes do it many times.
But we know why it happens, because if they stay on their feet, even if they are fouled, they don't get the penalty. So,
Lookman last night, on commentary, I'm sure Steven Gerrard said it. If it was a bit cuter and he goes over, it's 100% a penalty.
Yeah, completely. Tom in Essex says, I believe while we're waiting for VAR, the referee should stand on the centre circle and no players should be able to enter the centre circle apart from the captains. In other words, the referee shouldn't be influenced by the players. It's a complete division of views on what happened last night. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. Go big on landscaping with Travis Perkins. Find everything you need at travisperkins.co.uk.
We'll be talking to the man that Gabby wants all the credit for booking him on the show. The Coventry City manager, Frank Lampard, will join us for a full half hour from 8:45. Frank, a brilliant talker, of course. You won't want to miss that. And that was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast Preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. From fence panels to decking or paving packs to topsoil, Travis Perkins has all your landscaping needs covered.
Look, Jose will always live in Chelsea fans' heart, okay? Because what he achieved and what he done for that football club. But Jose changed as a man. As the game has changed, I don't doubt he still has a quality. But I just find it crazy.
What do you mean?
Well, they've gone from, Real Madrid have gone from moving away from Zidane, okay? Then they went to Ancelotti. And then they brought in Alonso, right? They wanted to go in a different direction, slightly, moving with this slightly younger head coach. Now they're going back to Jose again. They sound a bit lost. Sounds a little bit like they're going back to what they know.
Yeah, but I hear you. And Julian Lorenz made some really good points there. I think Jose Mourinho in a bad fit. I think they thought that they wanted to be, they've got Galactico side, right, with players again with Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, Bellingham, players like that, right? They wanted to have like an Alonso coach who could make them play football. And they realised these players have got big egos. And they always have when you're at Real Madrid. Real Madrid is full of egos. Ancelotti knew how to control them egos. Who is a manager who knows how to control big egos?
Yeah.
Jose Mourinho.
I'm not saying he doesn't tick any boxes, but he will leave.
Do you need to have brilliant tactics when you've got them world-class players?
No, Jose obviously knows his way around a tactic board. He's tactically.
He's not an idiot. Of course he's not.
But there will be that the wheels will fall off. And he's the sort of manager now that I just don't know whether he. I just think
Benfica are unbeaten this season. I know they're second, but they ain't lost a game.
A very good morning to 10 minutes away from 8 o'clock. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Jeff Stelling, and Gabby Agbonlahor. Mixed text to say the handball rule should be if there's contact between hand and ball, then it's handball. There would be injustice, but at least it would be consistent. I think quite a few people think that way.
Oh, it's at least then.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's a handball.
Yeah.
But It's just frustrating, isn't it? Like, how can you even try and jump for a cross, Jeff? You know, the ball's coming in, a cross or a corner. When you jump, your arms all over the place sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah.
Someone's pushing you. When someone pushes you and then hits your arm, and a penalty's given, it's like, come on. Frustrating.
Very, very frustrating. Headlines this morning: Diego Simeone's come under criticism for pressurising the referee and fourth official as they made those VAR calls. Steve McManaman has called the Argentines' behaviour atrocious. Ollie Watkins says being snubbed by England's fired him up for Villa's glory bid. 6 in 6 for Watkins now since Thomas Tuchel left him out of the England squad last month. And Chelsea winger Mikhailo Mudryk has lodged an appeal with the Court of Arbitration for Sport against a 4-year doping ban imposed by the FA. Here's talkSPORT's Ben Jacobs with more.
The substance in question is meldonium, which is deemed to be performance enhancing, particularly relating to extra stamina and recovery, and was the same substance that Maria Sharapova tested positive for as well. Now, interestingly, Mudryk has the same lawyer as Paul Pogba, who did successfully reduce his own doping ban. And if Mudryk is able to do that, then he could be back playing relatively soon. What we don't know yet is a scheduled date for the CAS hearing, because it's subject to those written submissions. And whilst things are ongoing, the FA and Chelsea and those close to Mudryk have all declined to comment. CAS confirmed the appeal is active, but the parties don't want to delve into the specifics to allow Mudryk that protection to have a confidential process and get the fairest possible hearing.
Jeff, I remember when I was at Villa and like some of my friends were taking these protein shakes.
Yeah.
I took the big tub in, took it into the football club, Villa, and I'm like, nope, can't take that. It's got this in it. There's so many things that you can't take as a player. And you're thinking, what? It's got that in it. I can't take that. So obviously he's not been careful with what he's taken.
Yeah, but I
so careful as a player.
You've got so many advisors around you these days, haven't you? Telling you to do this, do that, do the other. You know, look, I'm sure it will all eventually come out. He's got the same legal team representing him as Paul Pogba had. When Paul Pogba won his appeal and had his doping ban reduced from 4 years to 18 months. We will see what happens. Gary says, morning Jeff and Gabby, why does the rest of Europe have to kowtow to what the Premier League thinks constitutes what isn't a penalty? Surely the Premier League VAR should be in line with the rest of Europe. It is, after all, a European competition. Good point, Gary. And now, the Swindon manager, Ian Holloway, has been given a 2-match touchline ban for offensive language to an official following his red card in their defeat by Colchester United. It comes just 14 days after revealing in an interview with the Swindon Advertiser that he has banned himself from swearing. So, mind your language. Ian Holloway, good morning.
Good morning, Ian.
Good morning. Yes, I'm the butt of everybody's jokes, Jeff, but yeah, not everything always goes to plan, does it, my friend?
No, of course it doesn't, mate. I mean, look, some of the decisions that you get against you is enough to make you swear, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. No, I didn't. So I swore at people in the crowd, mate, who were swearing at me constantly. No, I'm serious. It was nothing to do with sending off.
Yeah.
And if you look back at it, what happened, 5 of their players at Colchester ran over to the referee. The referee made a reckless decision, in my opinion, sent my man off. After 29 minutes, we lost 3-0. Absolutely destroyed what we were trying to do. And it's no excuses. And then after that, they get 3-0 up by the end of it all. They're a good team. We knew it was going to be tough. Our chance to go second and put the pressure on everybody else is gone. And how it is these days. But how can a manager be the only one in the crowd who's not allowed to swear when he's been sweared at? I've had it this season, where an assistant manager swore at me 5 times. The fourth official heard it. I swore back at him at the end, where I lost my temper, and I get a red card. He don't get anything. None of it's... Mate, it's all about how you're perceived and things, but...
Yes.
Mate, I'm trying to improve myself, and that's no easy feat when you're 63. You know, it really is. But I have to say, the way things are dealt with these days, who makes the decisions, how they're asked to do things. I remember referees having a bit of a laugh with you, having a bit of a joke with you, but now we may as well make them AI because we're trying to make them like that, lifeless, soulless people who are judged on absolutely everything. They got to carry the law to the. It's really changed since I was last in the dugout. Do you know what I mean?
Then do you think that's
for the worse? I mean,
do you think that's at all levels as well, Ian? You've managed at all levels. Do you think the refereeing standard from the top to the bottom is not good enough?
Mate, I think it's much harder for them. I wouldn't want to do it. I'd never want to do it. I have to say, I've tried it once in training, and I threw the whistle down and walked off. It was everybody moans, everybody whinges. I think it's a society thing, Gabs, right at the minute, where everybody's expecting something. You buy a ticket and you expect to be entertained, you expect to win, you expect this. You know, if you go to the cinema and the film ain't very good, you don't stand there and boo, do you? You just go out, go and watch a different film. So
you are right about the referees, though, Ian, because I remember in a game when I was like, I hammered the ref during a game, and he just hammered me back. And then we both laughed. He was like, "You're not having a great game, are you, mate? Like, you can't talk." And I started laughing. You could have a bit of banter with the referees, couldn't you?
Mate, I gotta be honest. I've been given a coin when I was captain once because he knew I was captain against Man United when I was at QPR. He knew that meant the world to me, and he kept the coin and gave it me after the game. Mate, there were so many stories I could tell you about when Ray Wilkins got booked. I said, "You can't book that Sir Ray Wilkins," and we had such a laugh. It was, do you know what I mean? Things are changing. I don't think everything's the same these days as it used to be, and I'm glad I was brought up when I was, because the discipline that you had to have. I was all disciplined the other day, but none of it. Life isn't fair, is it? You know, and what you got to try and do is lead. So I've let my team down. I've let myself down.
Yeah,
and
but
more importantly, I let my wife down because she's the one who's put up with me for years.
But I'll tell you what, Ian, because obviously, I had years going to lower league football and now National League football, and the abuse that managers and their assistants take on the touchline sometimes is absolutely unmerciful. And the abusers, those who are using foul language towards the managers and that, and virtually never singled out and never, excluded from the game, if you like. So I do get why you lose your rag occasionally. Let me ask you a footballing question quickly, because I think it's one win in the last 6, so a bit edgy at the moment, but hey, what an opportunity at the weekend, home to Chesterfield, to claim that playoff place.
Well, what game, mate? Our wheels have come off. I'm not even sure we got one wheel on our wagon anymore, but that's the way it goes when you get a few injuries to things and you got a very young squad. But I have to congratulate the ones who are already still fighting. The standard's been absolutely exceptional. This is the only time all season we've been out of the top 6. So it would be a bit cruel, but it's down to us, how it's fallen. The only game that we can guarantee we're still in control of anything is by playing Chesterfield. So they're at our place. Our fans are absolutely magnificent. We've sold every single ticket. And I hope they sing us across the line like Grimsby fans did last week for their team. They scored the first goal, and my team literally couldn't cope with what was happening everywhere. So, well done to them. Let's see. But I tell you, Cookie's got a real good team there. They're in better form than we are, but form don't matter now, mate. Can we just get one win and limp into the playoffs?
Ollie, best of luck to you, mate.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers, chaps. Bye-bye.
The Swindon Town manager, Ian Holloway. At the moment, Chesterfield fill the last playoff place. They are 1 point ahead of Swindon, but they go to Swindon in the final game of the league season. Absolutely everything to play for, and you get in those playoffs and you just never know what
exactly
is
form can come back.
Yeah. Sean's text said, I was just wondering if that lawyer who represented Paul Pogba also represented Alan Brazil in keeping his job after the Cheltenham Festivals. Thank you very much indeed, Sean. Big Al, if you're listening, by the way, very good morning to you as well. Coming up, we'll turn our attention back to Arsenal, but focus on the performance. Did the second half show they might be suffering from fatigue ahead of a huge run-in? We'll ask Gabby about that next.
Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua. 03717 223344. Mohammed in Cardiff. Good morning. Where are you at with this then?
Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Simon.
Morning.
Well, congratulations for your winning your award.
Thanks, mate.
But I think this is just another retirement paycheck for both of these fighters. 5 years ago, this fight would have been amazing. Both of them were in their prime. Both of them were world champions. It probably would have been a biggest fight in British boxing history. But now, Fury, you've seen a decline in his last fight. AJ hasn't been the same for a while. And it looks like it's just another big retirement paycheck for the both of them.
Yeah, but Mohammed, you'll watch it, right? You won't miss it.
No, I don't think I watch it, if I'm honest. Like, there's a fight on Saturday, Benavidez versus Ramirez. That's a fight
that's a proper fight. Yeah,
you see, that's a proper fight. Wardley and Dubois is another fight.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's
There's
right.
jeopardy behind it. But this fight is just like Eubank and Ben. It's just another cop-out. Obviously, these two guys have achieved more than Ben and Eubank, but it looks like 5 years ago would have been great, but now I don't think I'd be wasting my time on watching, if I'm honest.
Interesting. Mohammed, listen, thanks for that. Arsenal fan, boxing fan, Keith, we know you. Keith, good morning. You having this fight?
Good morning. I'm doing me a favour. What a lot of nonsense. Fury against Joshua. Let me tell you something. Anthony Joshua is one of the luckiest...
Football fans all have stadiums we love. But do any of us have a pitch that we love? It might sound like an odd question, but pitches can be different sizes with big consequences. Why is that? And what are the actual rules? Back when association football started, pitches could be up to 100 metres wide and 200 metres long. That's longer than Ellen Road. Not the pitch, the stadium. Anyway, UEFA wanted a standard across Europe for international matches, which became 105 metres long and 68 metres wide. But some clubs have been rebels, not intentionally, but because of the stadiums. Take Highbury, for example. It was 5 metres shorter and a metre narrower, meaning away sides had a challenge to adjust. White Hart Lane was exactly the same. And actually, when Spurs temporarily moved to Wembley, they asked the FA to shorten the pitch. The FA, very offended by the sacrilegious suggestion, said no. Which, in fairness, could have actually benefited Tottenham because when they moved into their shiny new stadium, the pitch was exactly the same size as Wembley's. Today, Forest Pitch at the City Ground is a big one. It's 2 metres wider than any other pitch in the Premier League. But the smallest of all, Craven Cottage, just 100 metres long and 65 wide. No excuse for not tracking your man. There are a couple of crazy outliers in Europe too. At Napoli's home ground, the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona, the pitch is a whopping 110 metres long. At least they don't play on a slope like Newcastle do. There's a 2-metre incline on the pitch at St James's Park. And don't get me started on the old pitch at Yeovil too. It used to be a slant of 2 metres corner to corner and across the halfway line. So UEFA have their standards. So do the FA, but they do give pitches in England some wiggle room. Pitches can be anywhere between 90 and 120 metres long and between 45 and 90 metres wide. I mean, the rules state you can't have a square pitch, but in theory you could have one that's 91 metres long and 90 wide. Imagine rocking up to play a Sunday League game and the pitch is basically a square. So there are rules and regulations on sizes, with a UEFA standard that roughly everyone follows. But as we all know, size doesn't matter, does it?
Good morning, 6 minutes past 8. It is Thursday, April 30th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. It's the perfect time to upgrade your car. Get 2 years free servicing when you buy a used car in the upgrade event. Check it out online. I'm Jeff Stelling. Gabby Agbonlahor is with me right through until 10 o'clock this morning. On the way for you this morning, find out why Ali McCoist went viral last night. AC/DC and toilet roll were involved. The Coventry manager Frank Lampard will join us for a full half hour. Thanks to our senior booker, Gabby Agbonlahor. That's at around 8:45. And Dame Laura Davis will give us her opinion on what happens next for the likes of Raymond DeChambeau, with Liv's golf future now in jeopardy. Before all that, though, were Arsenal robbed last night?
Played in towards Ezra, he's gone down inside the penalty area. Oh, it's given a penalty. And if there is contact made, and we believe that there is, I don't see how it can be overturned. But Danny McAlee has been called over, and the referee is going to disallow it.
I think Arsenal got robbed.
He doesn't touch him. He goes to touch him, but it's a dive. And he got called out for it.
Not a clear and obvious error. And this changes the course of the game. And at this level, I'm sorry, but this cannot happen. We are all fuming about it.
He's got every right to feel the pain in Spain tonight.
100% he puts his foot on Ez's
No,
foot.
he doesn't.
And then there's contact.
No,
VAR
firstly, you're lying to
isn't
yourself.
there.
It's a brilliant dive.
Watching that, for me, it's not a penalty.
If that's tonight, and that's Morgan Rogers, you are screaming blue murder that is a penalty.
Here's the real story of tonight, though. Arsenal were robbed.
Look, let's just focus on the performance a little bit if we can.
Definitely.
And take it away from the officiating issues there. So, it finished 1-1. I mean, first half I thought Arsenal pretty much controlled it, Gabby, but the second half was much more worrying.
Yeah, second half was poor. Like they ran out of steam. First half, I thought you're right. Atletico Madrid were dropping off. Declan Rice was sweeping up in the defensive midfielder role. And it was comfortable at times. Madueke looked sharp a couple of times, then drifted. Martinelli, Odegaard didn't do enough. Gyökeres looked strong a couple of times, but then he drifted as well. But what stood out for me, Jeff, and it stood out to me against Newcastle, players looking tired. They're looking really tired, and I hope this doesn't affect Arsenal. You know, they've got a chance of winning 2 trophies. Could the tiredness in the squad affect them? And rightly so, to be honest, Jeff. They played 57 games this season, Arsenal. Fulham, who they play on the weekend, have only played 41. Highest appearance maker for Arsenal is Zubamendi on 51 games. Declan Rice also has played 50. Gyökeres 49. Martinelli 49 as well. When you watch Declan Rice, and especially on Saturday, he looks shattered, Jeff, when you watch him. And I know it's footballers and you get paid all this money. I'm sure Lord Jordan will say that at 10 o'clock, but their legs do look like they're tired.
But they've got a huge squad, Gabby.
I know.
They've got a huge squad, so, you know, that's the price you pay for being a successful football club, and that's why you have so many alternatives.
I'm surprised Norgard hasn't played a lot more this season, because Brentford's captain, I thought he was fantastic at Brentford, and he doesn't trust him at all, Jeff.
No.
He's played hardly any games this season. Zubamendi as well. Is there a chance that he could have rotated him more? But I do look at the games that they played, 57 compared to Fulham on the weekend, who have played 41. And you can see when you watch Arsenal, they look tired. And the attacking players, like I've said, Jeff, when we get spoiled on Tuesday night, every time Diaz, Elise, Doué, Dembele, Kvaratskhelia got the ball, they were at it. Even if the defender, Jeff, was getting tight to Kvaratskhelia, give me the ball, I'm going to try and roll him, 1-2, try and take my player on. You don't see that enough from Arsenal players.
Yeah. I think what we saw probably as well in the second half, Gabby, was that when Atletico came at them, suddenly Arsenal looked vulnerable and they looked a bit lacking in confidence, I thought, you know, because there were a string of chances early in the second half for Athletic. Okay, later in the game, Arsenal steadied the ship a little bit. But, you know, I mean, Dan's saying always a negative when talkSPORT talking about Arsenal. Where's the...
To be honest, like they've done, like you said, Jeff, done very well first half, controlled the game, but nervy second half. And you're starting to see that from Arsenal. There was one point this season where we were saying they could break John Terry, Chelsea's record of clean sheets, wasn't there, early on in the season? But the second half of the season have not looked as strong defensively. I think Timber's a big miss. Ben White's a decent player. Mascara can play there, but I think Timber, when he's in the side, they're a better side. Yeah. So when he comes back, they'll be a lot stronger.
Been a lot of talk during the course of the season, hasn't it, about Victor Gyökeres and whether he's been a successful signing. Mikel Arteta was thrilled with his performance last night.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think he had a very strong first half, when especially we were more dominating. You know that the Warwick is going to put a situation he created the goal and the penalty, and he was ice cold to score it in the manner that he did. And then the second half changed a little bit, credit to them, but as well a lot of things that we need to do much better. And I think then we changed that. With the changes, I think the game changed as well, and we finished on top.
And it was interesting, the assessment of Gyökeres, whose first half I think was pretty decent, but you know, I couldn't help but compare and contrast with the fella at the other end of the pitch, yes. Julian Alvarez. Who would you rather have of the two, Gabby?
Alvarez, all day. Sharper, better finisher. There's the goals he can score from outside the box, free kicks he can score as well. I think Gyökeres in the first half, Jeff, he had a couple of good moments. There was one where he outpaced, I think it was Llorente, and he ran through and he cut it back for Odegaard and it was blocked. Penalty, strong and got taken. But when we're talking about top strikers, Jeff, you're not looking at Gyökeres and saying, oh, I bet Real Madrid are looking at him. I bet Bayern Munich want Gyökeres in the summer. I think he's a limited football player. There's a reason why Havertz started against Manchester City. In the biggest game of the season, your star signing was on the bench. That says it all. If Havertz was available last night, Havertz would have started. So I don't think he's ever going to be a top-class elite striker.
Let's put your head on the block then. Finally balanced. Who do you see going through?
Arsenal.
Okay. And who will they play in the final?
I think they will play Bayern Munich. I look at that game, Jeff, and PSG were 5-2 up. They've got to see that out. Bayern Munich to get it back to 5-4. The chances they missed as well. I'm looking at this game and I'm saying home advantage. That stadium will be rocking, the Allianz Arena. So I'm going to back Bayern Munich and Arsenal to lose in the finals to Bayern. But Arsenal have to be at it, though, next week, Jeff. Because like you says, Atletico Madrid, Griezmann, Lookman, Alvarez, they look sharp, don't they? And they will create chances. And another day, they would have scored 3 or 4 last night. The saves, the block from Gabriel, the miss from Lookman, Griezmann had chances. So Arsenal, I feel, do go through, but they're going to need their fans to not be anxious. And if their fans have got to be with them all through the game, no matter what. And players have to step up. Who wants to go and take their team to a cup final? Who in that Arsenal side is going to step up? Madueke, you've got to do more. Trossard hasn't scored in 2026. Martinelli, not prolific, misses too many chances. Odegaard, not doing enough. Captain getting taken off early in the second half. Eze, been a bright spark recently. These Arsenal players have to step up.
Yeah. Interesting. All forward players that you mentioned who've got to step up. John Fry, by the way, says, out of interest, how many games have PSG and Bayern played this season? I'll tell you the answer. They both played 50.
Oh,
so, you know.
Yeah, not much in it.
No,
7 games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but Arsenal have played more.
Everyone will know about winter break and stuff on it. That always comes into the conversation.
Well, I think, it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? As far as certainly the French league is concerned, the intensity is far less than it is in the Premier League. 8:15 coming up. Don't forget Coventry manager Frank Lampard with us in half an hour or so at 8:45. Up next, we'll hear from a Coventry fan about what Frank means to the city now.
Whatever happened to the traditional cagey semi-final affair? The first leg of this semi-final, the highest scoring of any in Champions League history. Now, on Amazon, Vincent Kompany spoke post-match, and he tried to describe what we'd just seen.
Yeah, I would say, well, what do you want? Do you want teams that... I think you've seen a lot of good defending today. Intense duels and this, but it's just the margins are so little, and you only have two ways. So the first one is to go full, or the second one is to retreat fully. The in-between doesn't work against that level of players. The in-between doesn't work against our level of players.
Well, Vincent doesn't exactly see it as Wayne Rooney saw it. We saw some good defending. Vincent, what? Wayne Rooney, at this level, we have seen some brilliance, but we've seen some immature defending, which is crazy. He's not wrong, Dan.
There was some poor defending, yeah. But the problem you've got is when you play the way those two teams do, you're going to isolate people 1v1. And you can call it poor defending or you can just call it brilliant forward play. It's nearly impossible if you're one-on-one with someone with electric pace and good skill, because they can go both ways, to stop them. Kvaratskhelia goal, for example, or when you've got Elise one-on-one, you're in a world of trouble. So, I think rather than focus on whether there was good or bad defending, what I enjoyed most is that styles make fights. You've got two teams who think they're the best.
Very good morning to you. It's almost 8:20. It's a Thursday morning, April the 30th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling. Gabby Agbonlahor is with me. Steve has contacted me through X and said, get rid of VAR, full stop, and let the referee the game. There will be things that go against you and for you throughout a season, but we can live with that. VAR has destroyed the game we all love. Well said, Steve. We all agree with that. You finish off by saying, Gabby, you're the man. Well, you got most of that right, Steve.
Yeah,
anyways.
I did that one, didn't you, Jeff?
Yeah, no, didn't. It says right here, Gabby, you're the man. Now we have the Superstar Breakfast Show here on talkSPORT. We'll bring you superstar guests. That couldn't be more true than today. We're joined by a legend of football, Champions League winner, 3-time Premier League winner, 4-time FA Cup winner, but most importantly at the moment, championship winner as manager of Coventry City, Super Frank Lampard, will be with us live on the show in, around 25 minutes' time. Charlie is a Coventry fan. He's given us a ring. Morning, Charlie.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Gabby.
Morning, mate.
So I'm taking it you're a big Frank Lampard fan then, are you, Charlie?
Frank Lampard's a legend in our parts after what he's done. But the reason for calling, really, obviously, you can look at the league table and you can see the points that he's amassed and say, oh, what a job. But for us, it's about what he's done to the city of Coventry. He's turned the city into a footballing city again. If you look back, 8-10 years ago when we're travelling to Northampton and we're travelling to St Andrews, it's almost as if the city didn't have a club. If you walked into a pub and mentioned football, it would have just get met with groans and expletives and no one wanted to talk about it. But if you walk through Coventry City today, city centre, even on a Saturday morning, 1 in 3, 1 in 4 men are proudly wearing their white and blue tops, sky blues, as proud Coventry fans, which is something I didn't think I'd see in my lifetime throughout the city again. So it's not just about what he's done on the pitch, it's about what he's done for Coventry as a city.
Been a long time coming, hasn't it? 25 years, and we all know you've been playing at, grounds other than your own during that period, had all sorts of financial problems as well. So I think everyone in football is pleased for Coventry, to be absolutely honest, Charlie.
Yeah, well, it's unbelievable. Obviously, the previous owners, Sisu, did everything they could to rot us at the core, but those days are over. But yeah, everybody here sees Frank as a legend. He's got the keys to Coventry at the moment.
Are you nervous having to play Aston Villa next season, Charlie?
Gabby, we don't think about you. You only think about us, mate.
I don't mind Coventry. There's no rivalry there for me. Looking forward to it, mate. Happy for them.
No, we are excited. Midland Derby, all of that. It will be a good one.
Lots to look forward to then, Charlie. Thank you very much indeed for the call.
Mate.
Cheers, mate.
By the way, another Premier League manager on the show tomorrow. Sean Dyche will be alongside me from 6 in the morning for 4 hours, looking ahead to a huge weekend of football. Right, let's get the latest odds with Coral and John Hill.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
John, good morning to you.
Good morning, John.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Gabby.
Have you recovered, mate, from the weekend? That's obviously the first thing, and this is obviously unbelievable. Rochdale and York.
Tough one to take, gents. It really was. But look, it's been 3 or 4 days now. I've picked myself off the ground. We've got a playoff semi-final Sunday to look forward, chance to get to Wembley. So they're the positives, but it was cruel, I have to say.
Was it over the line? The York
I think it was, yeah. From an angle I've seen, I think it was. And I know you've been talking about VAR. I wouldn't take VAR for anything, regardless of what happened on Sunday. I think, you just take the emotion out of the game. It was just incredible, really, what happened on Sunday, what we went through, Rochdale and York fans, in those 3-4 minutes, the emotions, the highs, the lows. VAR would have just ruined all that, wouldn't it? So, regardless of whatever happened, if it did or didn't go over the line, no to VAR for me, I have to say.
It's unbelievable, wasn't it?
Me
Jeff?
too, mate.
You had everything, didn't you?
It did,
You had a York player throwing the left hook at a fan.
Yeah, that's right.
You had
2 pitch invasions.
Absolute carnage.
You think you've won it with a 95th minute winner. Our legend Ian Henderson, who put the ball in for Manny Desaruve. Jeff, obviously a player, knows very well. You're thinking, we're there, we've done it, we've never won anything before in the history of our football club. Back in the Football League, and then snatched away from us.
I'll tell you what, mate. I don't mean to be the harbinger of doom and gloom, but it is going to be mighty tough to lift yourself after what has happened there.
It is. Yeah, Jim has got a tough job on his hands, but they've got to put it behind it because, there's a lot at stake here. Scunthorpe are a good side. If we can get past that, and then obviously it could be Carlisle in the final. So a lot of football still to be played potentially, and still a carrot dangling there for us. So we can lift ourselves, play like we played all season. We've still got a great chance of.
I tell you what, could be Carlisle in the final. Don't you rule out Boreham Wood because they are a blooming good side, a really good side. Anyway, look, Champions League. How do you bet at the moment, then, John?
Well, it was a good result for Arsenal. I think they're absolutely delighted. Okay, there was a bit of controversy at the end there. Could have had another penalty and chance to take a lead to the Emirates. But I think they'd have taken a draw at the start of the night. And Arsenal now 1-3 to qualify for this Champions League final. Atletico Madrid 9-4 to turn it around in the second leg. In terms of outright betting, what a game that was the other night between Bayern and PSG. 15-8 now, Bayern to lift the trophy. Arsenal 9-4. PSG 9-4, Madrid 8-1. So, as I said at the start of the slot, I think Arsenal would have taken it, but still got a bit of work to do. It's only half time for them.
And also a big semi-final.
Yeah,
tonight.
It is.
Can I have some odds, please? Surely Aston Villa favourites?
They are certainly favourites to qualify, Gabby. 4-7 to get through to that final. 5-4. Forest. You just never know in these old domestic ties, do you?
Must be tight tonight. What about tonight?
I think it will. Yeah, it can't really separate them.
Yeah.
I think the Forest are just marginal favourites, 8-5. 9-5 Villa, the draw 23-10. I think that reflects what you've just said there. We're expecting a tight first 90 minutes. I think, like Arsenal last night, you'd probably take a draw, Gabby, and 100%. Take it back to Villa Park.
But like our manager says yesterday, he said, "I want to go there and win." We don't play for draws, John.
No, and the manager has experience of winning this trophy, doesn't he? He's done it often before. Villa 10-11 favourites to win the Europa League. Forest 100-30 second favourites. So we're saying whoever wins tonight will be favourites in the final against Freiburg or Braga.
Not the only big European game tonight, of course, because a big night for Crystal Palace. They take on Shakhtar Donetsk. First leg, of course, takes place in Poland, 1,000 miles from home as far as Shakhtar are concerned. Who's favourite in this one then, John?
Yeah, well, believe it or not, Palace are actually favourites, despite being away from home tonight. They're 21-20 to get a victory this evening. Shakhtar, as you say, they're 27-10 for the victory tonight, 23-10 the draw. And this is exciting for Palace fans. Okay, it's not been a great season in the Premier League. Had problems, obviously, a shift in manager and not quite lived up to last season. But if you can lift a European trophy, that will long live in the memory of Palace fans. So they're 11-10 favourites to win this UEFA Conference League. Strasbourg is second best at 11-4. Shakhtar 5-1 to go all the way. Rayo Vallecano 4-1. So great opportunity for Crystal Palace. If they can get through tonight, I think, again, we keep saying this, if we can get a draw away from home, it's always a good result. But Palace will go there tonight with a chance of even getting the victory.
Yeah, well, I mean, away from home is sort of relative here, isn't it? Because,
yes.
From a
exactly.
Shakhtar perspective,
It's a neutral venue.
It's 10 hours. It takes them 10 hours to get to the ground in Poland because, of course, there's no air travel within Ukraine. So they've got to go by coach and by rail. But look, I mean, good luck to Palace because... they've been a bit up and down away from home in Europe, but they've made it. They've made it to the semi-final.
And their first choice 11 as well is more than strong enough to win.
Oh,
definitely.
Look, I mean, Ismail Assar's been a revelation, I think, in the Premier League, but more specifically in Europe this season. And if he's fit and firing...
Mateta's come back as well, hasn't he? He's started to score again.
Brilliant. John, thank you very much
Thank
indeed.
you, John.
Good luck tonight, Gabby.
Thank you, mate.
And that was a look at the latest odds with Coral 18 plus
Nice guy.
gambleaware.org. Yeah, he's
Simon and Steve will say good luck to Villa.
yeah, we'll get a lot of Forest fans complaining about it, and rightly so. No bias on this show.
Okay, sorry.
Coming up, he's on the road again. Ali is at the airport going from Madrid to Nottingham. Hopefully, he's with us next.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here for the fans this season. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Lincoln City celebrated their title win this weekend. Decided this is the big moment to mock Spurs.
What? Oh my God! up the imps! Up the imps! Jay, Tottenham away, ole ole. That is shameless.
I don't know where to go.
Do you know that game now has been built up to something?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's been a thing because of you. Because of you.
It has nothing to do with me. I'm not.
No, it is. No, it's because of you. You made it a
I'm
thing.
not playing centre off Spurs.
It's just who we are,
It's not my fault you're there.
Oh, it's a killer. Oh, it's a killer. Lincoln away next season.
Mate, don't knock the imps, mate. Up the imps.
Lincoln away.
Ole, ole.
It's a killer. It is.
Can you imagine Spurs start singing Lincoln away, ole, ole?
Well, you know what? We're going to have to. Maybe we're going to have to.
No, Jay, get out of it, mate.
Do you think we'll get out of it?
Jay, I've been saying all along you'll get out of it, right? You'll find a way. I cannot... Look, it's a straight shootout between you and West Ham. Yeah. Up your hands. Straight shootout, mate.
Oh, I can't see it.
I
can't see it.
No, it is a straight shootout between you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but West Ham are decent.
Mate, they've been decent.
Every spring, sports fans in Europe come together to celebrate arguably rugby's biggest annual tournament, the Six Nations. But why is it the home nations, plus France and Italy, and no one else? It all started back in 1871 when Scotland beat England in the very first international rugby match. A few years later, when they could field a team, Wales decided they'd host England and an idea was thought up. With Ireland keen, they formed the Home International Championship, which ran from 1883. In 1910, France was allowed to join, as they were developing into a serious rugby nation, and thus the Five Nations was born. France had an interesting history with the championship. They were actually booted out for paying their players in 1931, when the home nations were keen to keep it amateur. After World War II, though, France were let back in, but it remained a closed shop for more than 50 years. And when another country was let in, it was only really because the Five Nations hand had been forced. Italy was developing into a serious contender, beating Scotland, France and Ireland twice in the same year, meaning in 1999 officials got together and said yes to Italy and it became the Six Nations. So what changes, if any, come next? 7 nations? 8? A promotion and relegation system? Or should we leave it alone and let it remain the great rugby tradition it's become?
Can it be AC/DC? It is. Can it be a bit AC/DC, man?
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Shop the upgrade event today. Get an extra £500 off when you part exchange your car. Don't miss your chance to boost your valuation. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with me. It was an eventful evening all round, wasn't it, in Madrid last night? Ali McCoist was out there to witness it before the game. AC/DC's Thunderstruck was ringing around the stadium. We know Ali is an AC/DC super fan. He was spotted rocking in the crowd. He went on to have a big night of sangria. A spot of Spanish Red probably as well in there. We managed to drag him out of bed to join us. Coisty, morning.
Morning, Ali.
Good morning. Morning, boys. How are we this morning?
Yeah, we're very good, mate. You weren't short of toilet roll then last night, were you?
I've never experienced. I thought it was one or two in the stadium, Jeff, commenting on my commentary, if you like. But no, it was an unusual thing. I haven't had that before.
I know, absolutely brilliant. But seriously, I mean, what you've been to all of the great grounds. What was the atmosphere like last night?
Do you know something? It was fantastic. Prior to the game, Jeff, Gabby, it was brilliant. It really was. The atmosphere was absolutely electric. To be fair to Arsenal, Jeff, I've got to say, they took the sting out of the atmosphere first half. They did really, really well. And then at the start of the second half, I felt the penalty decision gave them a real boost, and then the crowd really, really got behind Simeone's Atletico Madrid, and for 15-20 minutes it was absolutely incredible. But to be fair to Arsenal, I thought they'd come back into it final 15-20 minutes as well, mate.
Ali, I've got to say one word to you. I want you to go in on it. Kravitz-Skelia.
Listen, he is just, I love him, man. I absolutely love him. And by the way, credit where it's due, mate. You've been going on for weeks to me about Elise. Oh. You have. I thought the two of them, particularly in that opening 45 minutes on Tuesday, boys, Jeff, Gabby, come on. That must be one of the best. I think it's one of the best games I've ever seen. Honestly, I really do.
I was messaging Ali like so excited, Jeff. I was watching my two oldest kids. I was messaging Ali saying incredible. Ali's replying like, can't believe it. It was one of those games, wasn't it, Ali, where when the final whistle went, you're like, please, okay, it's on next week. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I would say, though, Coasty, is you see PSG and Bayern go at it, hammer and tongs like that. If Arsenal reach the final against either of those two sides, they're not going to be as open. They're not going to give the opportunities away that both PSG and Bayern did.
No chance. Because the one thing, boys, the one thing that Arsenal, and I really hope, after that game last night, I've never wanted Arsenal to get a final more. I really, really hope they get to the final. And the one thing that they can't do, excuse me, boys, it makes sense. You don't take somebody on at their own game if they're better at it than you. Right, now looking at that, you'd have to say Bayern Munich and PSG are the two best attacking sides, maybe in the world, boys, right? Maybe in the world. Now, Arsenal are a very, very good team, but if they took the two of those teams on at their own game, you'd have to say Bayern Munich and PSG would win the game. So what do? You have to try and take them out of their comfort zone and play to your own strengths. And clearly that would be the case. And I still think Arsenal will get there. After watching that last night, I certainly think they'll get there, and I hope they get there.
Ali, going back to last night's game, when that Eze penalty, the ref went over to look at the screen, what was the atmosphere like in the stadium, and what did you think of Simeone's antics?
I don't know about you, but I just think he's classless. I really do. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's great to watch this and watch that. I just think the lack of respect and the lack of class coming last night from him was really evident. And by the way, you'll never convince me, and I said it on air last night, boys, if that penalty is near the box, it stays a penalty. I mean, the referee, whether we like it or not, it's human nature. He was influenced, certainly, Simeone was doing everything he could to influence him. Only he knows whether he did influence him. But I tell you what, the atmosphere in that stadium last night would certainly have influenced anybody. And it's just human nature. But I'll stand by it. If that penalty's near the box, it stays a penalty.
Well, I tell you what, Coisy, it's been a great week for your air miles. And you're going to be at the City Ground tonight for Forest against Villa in the semi-finals of the Europa League. I tell you what, the atmosphere at the City Ground will be pretty tasty as well.
Oh, it'll be brilliant. That's a game. That's the one thing we're guaranteed. Gabby, you'll be busted for Villa to do it, man, to get to that final in Turkey. I don't doubt it. But I tell you what, I think maybe 5-6 weeks ago, I think, favouritism would have been with Villa over the tie. I think it's 50-50 now, boys. I've got to say to you, I think it's 50-50. I think it's a difficult one to call, and I think it's going to be a really, really good game. And Jeff, you're spot on. The atmosphere at the City Ground tonight everybody will be so up for it. They could end up having a great season. I mean, they both could when you think about it, but everything to play for tonight is going to be a great game. Getting back to the air miles, Jeff, you're absolutely spot on. I've got that many air miles. I reckon I could fly to Australia. I could get a return journey to Australia. Having said that, wee Viv says I should get a one-way to the moon.
Ali, it's so important that Villa gets to the final because I've got tickets for the final, and also I've got my planned hair transplant as well, Ali. So I need Villa to get there. I want to come back with a nice head of hair.
Gabby, I'm coming with you. I'm gonna get the Barnett done. I'm gonna get the Edward Heath done. I'm just thinking. No, Jeff, you'll not recognise this.
Yeah.
I tell you the one thing, Gabby. What a couple of weeks you're gonna have. If I take everything into account, you're saying you're gonna have a Europa League final. You're gonna get your Barnett done. You're gonna get your teeth sorted, and then you've got a World Cup final to look forward to.
Exactly. England in the final. Standard, Ali.
Hey, boys, just look at this head of hair and be green with envy, won't you? Coisy, have a great night tonight.
Give that a tug. Give that Barnett a tug, Gabby.
I'll shave it off in the break.
Cheers, Coisy. Take care, mate.
Take care, boys. See you later.
Don't forget Forest against Villa live on talkSPORT tonight. Greeno's a regular contributor. He says he's very naughty. He said, "Morning, boys. Nice to hear you back, Jeff." He said, "However, I was looking at the National League playoffs and I didn't see Hartlepool's name. Did they not make it?" Greeno, I hope your post bag this morning is extra heavy. Okay, wow. Right, still to come on breakfast.
Superstar Breakfast preview on talkSPORT with Benchmarx Kitchens and Joinery. Get trade prices on kitchens to suit all styles and budgets at Benchmarx.
We will continue to look ahead to tonight's football with the legendary Nottingham Forest goalkeeper Mark Crossley. But up next, it's all about one man. Super Frank Lampard joins us next. Don't go anywhere. That was our breakfast preview with Travis Perkins.
Superstar Breakfast Preview on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. With pay-as-you-go hire from Travis Perkins, you can get straight on with the job. Available nationwide at all hire branches.
I can tell you we've got a massive update on Mykhailo Mudryk. He has been handed a 4-year doping ban by the Football Association. It happened earlier this year. That is the maximum, the same number originally that Paul Pogba got, by the way. And Mudryk has gone to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. I can read you a statement from the Court of Arbitration to Sport from the sources that have sent on-record confirmation to talkSPORT saying CAS confirms it's received an appeal by Mykhailo Mudryk against the Football Association, filed on the 25th of February 2026. The parties are currently exchanging written submissions and a hearing is yet to be sanctioned. Sources have subsequently told us at talkSPORT that the ban is 4 years, and Mykhailo Mudryk is hoping, using the same lawyers actually as Paul Pogba, to either get vindicated via the Court of Arbitration for Sport or, at least in a worst case scenario, have that ban reduced. Now, if, like Pogba, the ban was moved from 4 years to 18 months or 2 years, then because the provisional suspension that Mudryk has served counts towards that, he could, in theory, if successful, find himself back in action ahead of next season. But if he serves the full 4-year ban because CAS uphold the FA decision, then obviously his Chelsea future and maybe even his future in football becomes severely in doubt.
Yeah, and Ben, just remind us, if you know, of course.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with me. Let's get stuck into this straight away because it is 8:45. The wedding's over. Time to welcome an absolute footballing legend. The man who's led Coventry City back to the big time after 25 years. It's a very good morning to Frank Lampard. Morning, Frank.
Good morning, Frank.
Good morning. Morning, lads.
Look, Frank, first of all, congratulations. Look, competitive division. You're 11 points clear with a game to go. By my reckoning, you've had a net spend of sort of less than £3 million. So how have you done it?
Yeah, a lot of work. I think with to go back over we came in, I think, end of November, like the year before last season. And I thought we had a great run at the second half of last season. Working with good lads, good players. Went away for the summer. Having lost a playoff semi-final in those sort of circumstances, not easy. But we came back with a determination to try and go well. Did we expect to go and win the league in this manner? If I'm honest, I would say no. But that's probably testament to the work that we've done, what the players have done on the pitch. And to do it in the style that they've done it, and to be able to relax in these last couple of games has been a great thing. We don't always get that moment where you can sit back and we've had 3 celebrations already in terms of the games that we've played at the back end. So yeah, really, really delighted. It's a massive thing for this football club because of the story of 25 years out of the top tier. So we're absolutely delighted, of course.
Frank, I think that Coventry City, their fans have been through a lot, haven't they? Having to go and watch games at Birmingham City's ground and Northampton's ground. I see yours as well, your special connection with the fans. Did this promotion and the way you've done it, was it more for the fans as well?
Yeah, I think so. I spoke on the pitch, Gabby, at the end of the game the other day, and it was I was trying to be very honest and real. And it is this club I didn't probably understand the size of the fan base, maybe the passion that's every fan base has a big passion for their football club. But when you go through what they've been through, like you say, from going and seeing their team in different stadiums and seeing the team go down the leagues and then come up and have all this sort of jeopardy and troubles along the way, I think it's heightened the feeling for them. We've felt that in the city, we felt it in the stadium, selling out every week, travelling with us all over the place. So I think that this feels relatively unique in a sense of our story, and I felt how much it's meant to the fans so much this season. So we just do our work. As you do your job, I do my job. The players have all done their job. But when you see the CBS the other day, and when you see them at Blackburn, then you really realise what this means to people, young, middle, older, who are much younger, who've never maybe seen Coventry in the top flight. Older fans that maybe have seen that, but it feels like a long, long time ago. To be able to give them that has been a special part of it.
I watched your interview after the point at Blackburn that got your promotion, Frank. I mean, and you were very emotional. It was lovely. It was fantastic to watch. And was it just because of the magnitude of what you'd achieved sinking in?
Yeah, I think so, Jeff. I'm definitely human, and I have my moments. And when my lip wobbles and I feel things, then I know that I can go. I just about managed to hold it together, I think. But I think probably a couple of things, and there's so many parts to this. The responsibility of being a manager, from being a player, there's so many more things to it. So certainly the fans. I mean, I've just said that about the fans, and I was the outpouring at Blackburn caught me a little bit in the moment. Also, probably on a personal level, to do the work and to do it with the staff, and specifically Joe and Chris who came with me, but the staff that work here already, to know what goes on behind the scenes and the work that everybody's put in. It felt like a real achievement, probably a bit on a personal level, if I'm honest, but also that I got caught by the fans outpouring, and then actually just a realisation that we'd done it. Because as I say, earlier in the season, we were probably looking at, can we make the playoffs again this year? This league's it feels like it's getting tougher with the parachute teams and the teams that have come up, the Wrexhams and the Birminghams. You see that, I think, in how the points have been distributed this year in the league. Now, hopefully we're going to get to 95 points, but last year there were 2 teams on 100 points. It's harder to do. It's hard to keep consistency, and this team's managed to do that and play in a style that I'm really proud of. So yeah, that probably just all came out in one moment on the pitch at Blackburn.
Frank, I know Coventry was so unlucky last season when you lost to Sunderland, that last-minute goal. How did you galvanise the players pre-season and throughout the season to get over that disappointment? Did you have to go into your experience as a player and a manager to get them back on track?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, I saw their faces in Sunderland. It was a really difficult night because of the nature of the last minute. Their faces were devastated after the game because these boys, not many have played in the Premier League. They were desperate to get there. And then we all kind of went back to the training ground and we all left at 3 a.m. in the morning, and it was a bit surreal. It was a bit we're not going to see each other for a while. So I think I probably lent on my experiences of being a player for many. I was very fortunate at Chelsea. We had this successful team that every year, if we came second or didn't win cups or whatever, I would sit in the dressing room myself and John and Ashley and the group, and we would be like, what's next? That's not good enough. We want more. And so I've naturally got that instinct of getting straight onto the next thing. So I sent the boys a little message on the group a day or so after. I was like, lads, you've been brilliant. Bring your runners, because we need pre-season we need to be a physical machine and we need to take steps forward. That was my feeling with the players. Gabby, we've got such a good group here. I knew we needed to keep the group together, but I didn't feel the need to ring up Matt Grimes or ring up Bobby Thomas or Redone. I knew that they would hurt a bit and go away, and I knew that they would be together, and I knew that there's a good part of this dressing room that leads itself. Jake Bidwell, Jamie Allen's, these people, they're just used to going again and working. So some of it took care of itself. We probably had an underlying determination for sure. But at that point, we didn't know what would be, as you say. But I think the lads came back. They were brilliant pre-season. They all worked. It was very physical. We got us to where we wanted to be. And maybe, you know, the idea of fate that some things are meant to be, to lose at Sunderland felt really tough. But maybe that wasn't our time. And now this team has developed over the year, and now is our time.
Yeah. I mean, the response was amazing, wasn't it? Unbeaten till October, and you scored 4s and 5s and a 7 against QPR. Later in the season, Frank, I mean, this is a game I watched. You were going through a bit of an indifferent spell, certainly by your standards anyway. You'd won 2 out of 8, you'd lost 4 of those 8, and you played Middlesbrough, and it was I think it was a Monday night. And it was a fantastic match to watch. And I just wonder whether that victory, or how key that victory against Middlesbrough was.
Yeah, Jeff, it was completely pivotal in our season. And you're right, we'd had a sort of challenging little spell for us. I think there were some different things to that. Some of it was fatigue, some of it was just the championship, and we came off it slightly. And then obviously people question you, and then there's sort of the mentality thing becomes an issue. I tried to stay pretty calm through that because I understood it. I was kind of waiting for that moment. But the Middlesbrough game specifically, I think we had a good long week's work training into it. We'd managed to sort of thicken up the squad. We'd spent a lot of the first half of the season with a smaller squad, and we felt that the tension of maybe a couple of injuries. But going into Borough, we had sort of 20 fit first-team players, and we trained, and we decided we wanted to really go in on Middlesbrough. They were playing brilliantly, a really good footballing team at that time and are. And we went after them at the CBS, and the crowd engaged with it. The boys did their stuff, and I think then you just felt a confidence come through back for everybody. And we'd gone second for a week. We went back to the top of the table, and then the rest was the lads. They took that bit of confidence. They took what they got from that game. I think they went and won 7 out of 8 or something straight after that. And again, we started to amass points. So it was certainly a pivotal performance. And I think the lads, if there was any belief that they're sort of faltered or worried about, they got through it with the work into that Middlesbrough game and how they approached a game against another top team in the league.
Frank, your attacking players, Haji Wright, Thomas Asante, Sims and Mason Clark, all in double figures this season, have been fantastic. But there's one player that I love watching, and I want to know, Redoni. He's got 7 goals himself. What have you taught him about late runs into the box, which is your speciality?
Yeah, I agree. The players you mentioned, I love all the players, but Rudy does have a certain X factor for us as a player. I think I liked the look of him when I came into the job. I think he'd been moved around in some different positions, and I think that wasn't clear at that point. I always felt he would be a number 10 for us or an 8, you know, literally an attacking midfield player. But I could see the ability he had to make the box. And the best thing, Gabby, you'll know this from working with the best players, is that they just want more. He wants to train more. He wants to ask questions. And of course, with a player like him who plays in a similar position to me, you can be really engaging with it. And he asks, he'll go, you know, what did you do in that game? He'd have watched something somewhere on YouTube, or even when he's watching other teams, or what did you see that goal from Cole Palmer last night? So that part becomes easy because some of those things, when the raw talent's there, it's the simple things. It's like, how often are you making the box, Rudy? Are you going out to sort of, when we're wide and we have Mason Clark or we have Sakamoto wide, do you need to be out there joining them, or can you be making the box? And some of the goals, when you see the work you talk about, and then you see, it was a goal he scored against Sheffield United later in the season, and he played it wide to Efron, and he just bolted to the box, stuff that we talk about, and he got in the danger area, and then the rest is up to him. Like, he scores ahead of that game. But so it's just the small things to work on the training pitch. I'm a big believer in repetition and working. So when the game comes, you're just ready to do it. But at the same time, there's a little bit of freedom with Rudy. But he's played this season with his shoulder. He's had pain. He needed the operation. So I don't think we've even seen the best of Rudy this season, which he's just had done now. But he's a highly talented player and one that you just love working with.
Loads of messages, Frank. Inevitably, John and Logan say, Frank, John, Chris changed the course of Coventry after 4 weeks working with the lads. We could see that from the terraces. Mark Robbins is a legend, but the team needed new energy. And a Borough fan says, I just want to congratulate Frank and Coventry. Fully deserve to be champions. I thought we might pip them at one point, but they just went into another gear. Brilliant to see a non-parachute team dominate the division. I think a lot of people would share those views. And you've still got Watford away, of course, at the weekend, even though they're champions. Have you given the boys a bit of latitude this week, or is it still full focus?
Yeah, they've had some latitude. They need that. I said to them, we've had a few celebrations. I think I mentioned that, but it's important that you do that. On Sunday, we had the families on the pitch, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliantly done, and the engagement with everybody. They're special moments, so they had a few days off the back of that, and they deserve that. They're fit now. They're fit, so it's. I gave them a little bit of freedom with that. We're back in today. We will focus on Watford because we want to get as many points as we can. We want the travelling fans to see the team that has won the league play like a team like that. Will there be an opportunity to give some minutes to players that have been huge for us behind the scenes? I mentioned it before. One of our big strengths this season is players that aren't playing regularly, still a good teammates, still a good trainers. I'm talking about Jake Bidwell. I'm talking about Jamie Allen. I'm talking about people like Ben Wilson, massively supportive characters. So they will get an opportunity, some of those, at the weekend, but it's still going to be a strong team. I never liked the idea of that sat on the beach kind of feel of a game. We have to give it one last pop. And do the right thing. So, some players will deserve some minutes and they'll get them.
Frank, how good has Onyeka been? Because you got him on loan in February, I think it was, and he signed a permanent now, is that right, for next season?
Yeah.
And also, I want to ask you about the summer. You're obviously going to get a well-earned holiday, but are you going to be able to relax in the pool? Are you going to be on your phone looking at players, calls?
I'm good at multitasking, Gabby. So there will be moments where I'll have maybe a beer in my hand and my phone in my other one. And sometimes I have to apologise to Christine for that. But the first part of that is that Frank has been brilliant. Frank Onyeka, he was a profile player that we needed in that moment, and he's come in and given us everything we need, which has really helped the balance of our midfield with what Grimesy does and whoever plays in our 10, how they play. The other thing he's offered is an incredible humility and work ethic. He's come in and just breezed into the squad in the dressing room, and he's come down as a Premier League and an international player, and he's so humble. I love that, and it's good for some of our players to see what that looks like. In terms of the summer, there's a lot of work to be done. There's no doubt when you come up as a parachute team, as I keep saying, if the players that aren't that experienced, I know the gap well because I've played in it a lot. I've managed them in a team fighting for Champions League at Chelsea. I've managed in a relegation battle at Everton. I understand. I feel the level. So there's lots of conversations. I think the owner's been very keen on us all enjoying and celebrating these last couple of weeks, and I agree with that. We can live in the moment, but the next job for the football club is, okay, what do we need to do? Because we've risen quite quickly in these last 18 months. A lot of amazing groundwork by Mark Robbins, of course, but the differences that are coming upon the football club now, and the step is big. So it has to be done well. So that will be the job.
A lot of love for you from Evertonians, Frank. Paul says, I'm an Everton fan. One of the things I loved about Frank managing my club is that as a fan, you really felt he got and understood the club, its size, its history and its fans, and he's done the same with Coventry. Ben says, I'm an Everton fan. I'm delighted to see Frank get Cov to the Premier League. I can't wait to welcome him back to the Hill Dickinson. The Everton fans love Frank and appreciated what he's done for us. And Dave says, looking forward to Frank coming to the Hill Dickinson. Congratulations to him and his Coventry team. His work in keeping us up is part of the reason Everton are now in our new stadium as a Premier League team. Look, stay with us on talkSPORT Breakfast. More from the Coventry City manager, Frank Lampard, coming next.
Unai Emery to Real Madrid.
Oh dear.
He's an experienced Spaniard whose heart is open to a move back home. He's enjoyed his time in the Midlands. His current partner is begging him to stay. But sometimes you just can't say no to something bigger and better. So will he ditch his babe in boring Birmingham for a magnificent madam in Madrid? Unai Emery to Real Madrid.
I don't think he'd want to go
Are
to
you
Real
swiping
Madrid.
left or swiping right?
Swiping left.
Hold on a minute. Did you?
Did
Did you just say? Do you know what? He wouldn't want to go to Real Madrid. Well, no.
No, you don't get to explain.
Did you just say he wouldn't want to go to Real Madrid?
Reasons,
and the reason for that would be?
Because at Aston Villa, he runs the show. It's his club. Real Madrid is chaos. Look how the players treated Xavi Alonso.
It's Real Madrid.
Vinny Jr. walked off the pitch and went down the tunnel.
Real
When he got taken off. It's not work for Arbeloa. It's
Yeah,
a bit of a toxic job at the
It's the
moment.
biggest club in the world. One of them, certainly.
After Rangers.
After Glasgow Rangers, yes.
I don't think it works. I feel like what he's got going on at Aston Villa, he runs the club, he decides every decision to go to Real Madrid and what? You could be there for 6 months and get the sack.
Is this because you want this to happen? You don't want this move to happen?
I don't see it. That's why I'm swiping left, because I don't want it to happen.
No,
I love him.
I don't see it
We can't do what you want. We think what you think is going to happen.
I don't think it will happen. I think he's got something good going on at Aston Villa. He's got a great chance of winning Europa League, Champions League football, hopefully. Why would you want to go to Madrid? Last time Ali was there, it was
What football ground are you thinking of when someone says this?
Really tough place to go. Difficult place to go. Such a tough place to go.
It's a tough place to go at the moment.
It was a really difficult place to go, always.
But what are the toughest places to go, really? We've scoured the planet to find out. Forget a cold, wet Tuesday night in Stoke. Try playing in a blizzard 220 miles inside the Arctic Circle at the world's northernmost professional club. When Chelsea lost at Tromsø in Norway in the 97-98 Cup Winners' Cup, a massive snowstorm hit at half-time. These two boys and their brooms were absolutely no match for it. We're staying in Scandinavia for Scotland's toughest away day on a windswept cliff in the Faroe Islands. In Euro 2000 qualifying, Craig Brown's men were taken to fishing village Toftir. Kevin Gallagher called the pitch a cowfield and the wind like Pittodrie on a bad day. The Faroe Islands part-timers equalised in stoppage time, leading to these absolute scenes, and still one of Scotland's most embarrassing results.
Daft little ground, silly game.
But away trips don't come any tougher than a lung-busting schlep up the Andes to face Bolivia in La Paz. But now the Bolivians have taken home advantage to another level. The country's highest city, El Alto, 4,100 metres above sea level. Grass doesn't even grow up here. Bolivia have not lost here yet. The longest unbeaten run in any professional league ever belongs to Red Star Belgrade, or Crvena Zvezda if you must. They've gone 7 years without defeat at the Rajko Mitic in Serbia's Superliga. Their fans are pretty intimidating as well, but they're not as loud as this mob. Galatasaray's Ali Sami Yen Stadium's officially the loudest in world football. In a derby with Fenerbahce, Galatasaray fans set a Guinness World Record of 131 decibels. That's louder than Motorhead, and pretty tough to carry out your manager's instructions when you can't even hear them. However, our most intimidating away day is in Wales, where cameras can't enter and players can't leave. HMP Prescoed. This prison team was briefly kicked out the Gwent League over concerns about young opposition having to go in there. Now that's a tough place to go.
Early June 1939, Germany, always a tough place to go to.
Morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast with Arnold Clark. Buy a used car, get a free 2-year service plan plus an extra £500 when you part exchange. Shop the upgrade event today. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with me a little later. Dame Laura Davis will tell us if the likes of Bryson DeChambeau and John Rahm will be welcomed back on the PGA Tour with Liv's future now in serious doubt. But right now, let's return to the former Chelsea legend and current Coventry City boss, Frank Lampard. Frank swamped with messages, by the way, from all of your clubs, Chelsea, West Ham, Everton, Derby, everybody wishing you well. Everybody absolutely loving what you've achieved there. Can I just ask you about when you initially took the job, because somebody mentioned Mark Robins, I think it was 7 years at the club, legend at Coventry. Did you have any doubts about taking over from Mark Robins because he was such a legend?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an obvious thing. I think when you take a job, you weigh up all parts of it. Obviously, you look at the squad because that's the main thing you want to be able to affect with your work. But the modern world we live in means that things like the Mark Robins effect or factor that's in it is always there. It's always in your ear, and you can and you feel it. So I did think about it respectfully, and I think I've just tried to go about the job respecting that part of the story and the good work that Mark did, and got to work quickly on the job that was in hand. But yeah, I understood it, and I know some people didn't want Mark to leave, or some people on the outside would have questioned my thought process of going and taking that job. But when you normally take a job, not everything is perfection. You're coming into something, and when I look back on it now, I'm just happy that I took on the opportunity, and we managed to work. And again, when we've been able to achieve this, you look back and say a lot of work that Mark's done from League Two to League One and playoff finals and FA Cup semi-finals. That's all part of the story. My part of the story was to come here and try and work hard and take a next step or whatever, which fortunately we've managed to do.
Frank, we've seen teams come into the Premier League, get promoted and try and play the same football and find it very difficult, and they end up going down with not a great amount of points. Are you definitely open to changing maybe your style in certain games when you come into the Premier League next season? Because you have to adapt, don't you? You know that more than anyone, playing so many games in the Premier League.
Yeah, for sure, Gabby. We've all seen that story, and I think a reality will be as well. We've had a really good group who've got out of this league, and you want the players to be able to compete at that level because the quality level is so high, the physicality, all the things you have to be aware of. I think hopefully one of our strengths this season is that we've been an adaptable team. We don't have one set way of playing where we're trying to, slowly push teams back and stay in their half and leave ourselves up to counter-attack. We can play forward and run forward and have variations in our game. So there are some things I think that we can work from in what we've done last season as a club, if you think of it as an idea, but there's also a lot of other challenges, and that's part of the job. So yeah, I understand your point, and that's work that's ahead.
Yeah, you must be inspired, though, Frank, as well, and Coventry City fans probably will be too, by the likes of what Sunderland have achieved this season in the Premier League, and if you like, going back a bit further to the Brentfords of this world, who are now established Premier League clubs. I mean, it is possible to make that step up.
Yeah, it is, and there's a lot to it. Sunderland have shown it. They obviously recruited heavily and took that route of doing it, and I think the history has shown that now in the modern day. If you look at the Premier League, I know, again, it's slightly mirroring what I said about the Championship, but the top teams have maybe not got so many points this year. But you look at the strength of the league throughout, teams that are financially spending and recruiting and are stronger sort of midway or towards the bottom of the table, even if you look at where Tottenham and West Ham are, it's a real challenge of a league. So I think all you can do there is get your own house in order, be very clear with the strategy that what you want to do as early as you can possibly do it, how you're going to want to approach it as a football club, and work towards that. But yeah, there are stories of teams that have done it. There are also many stories of teams that haven't. I think a lot of that is for the owner. We've got Doug who runs the club solely, and he's very much hands-on with lots of things, which is a really good thing in a sense. And of course he'll be at the front of that sort of idea what the strategy is, because he's worked hard in his few years here to get the club here. We've all worked together in this last 18 months to get us there. But it needs to be really clear how we want to approach it. And after Watford, we will be having all those conversations.
Frank, I want to move on to a player that you give his debut for Chelsea, Reece James. How important is he for Chelsea and also for the World Cup in the summer?
Yeah, Reece, what an incredible player, an incredible lad. I've been really pleased with how he's taken to the captaincy there as well, because I think from afar, I feel like I've seen him grow into that position, because he was always quite a quiet lad, Reece. Kept his thoughts to himself, but when you did speak to him, he was very articulate. But the quality level, Gabby, I mean, when I first went to Chelsea, I had a good understanding of the academy because of the lads that were working with me. But to see his talent levels, I mean, I've never seen someone who gets a 70-yard crossfielder and just brings it down in his chest and then can do whatever he wants to the ball. It's a really incredible technique. But his whole game that he's got now, pace and power and the quality levels. So, yeah, massively important for Chelsea. You see that when he's not playing. He's managed to play more regularly this season, which has been great, but obviously out recently. And yeah, without picking Thomas's squad for him or his team, I think Reece James is one of the best right backs in the world, without a doubt. And yeah, want to see him fit and playing again because he's a special player.
So how do you rate our chances at the World Cup, Frank?
Well, I think we've got a good chance, but there's a lot of other good teams in it. This is the age-old question I get about why we didn't win World Cups as a group from my generation. And part of the answer is because France, Spain, Germany were all really, really good too. And, you know, so there are other teams that will be there competing, going over to America with the conditions that they'll be. But I think we've got lots of good talent in our squad as well. So I think absolutely we have a really good chance of doing it. It will be about momentum. It will be about the best players being fit and ready at the right time, and the balance that Thomas will try and strike with the team. But there's obviously been lots of good signs along the way. So yeah, as an Englishman, I go there with confidence that we've got a really good chance there.
When you went to World Cups, Frank, what was the pressure like? Because there'll be some of these players that have been to World Cups as well, and they know the pressure from the media, from the fans, and also the conditions. You talked about the conditions there. I think you would have went to World Cups, wouldn't you, where the conditions were hard to play in? Will that affect the players?
Yeah, they'll have to overcome that, and we never quite did. So I remember playing in the World Cup in Germany. I think we played Ecuador as one of the games, and it was really, really hot. We're in Germany, it's Europe, but those conditions, and you could straight away feel that it didn't suit us as much as it suited the South American players, and we didn't quite broach that. I think we won that game, but it wasn't great, and I felt that. I went to Brazil. I didn't play. It was the back end of my career. I played one of the games, but again, I don't think we quite maybe overcome. I'm taking that as a responsibility of us as players as well. So there will be that. There'll be a lot of work, I know now, with the staff, making sure that everything is done to get the players ready to cover that acclimatisation thing of the trickiness of that. But I also, to go back to the first part of your question there, I had something for you there. You were talking
about the pressure.
The pressure.
Yeah.
The pressure is really heightened. It's really heightened when you get to the major tournaments. You feel it in the camp. You feel it build up, and that's something again that maybe we didn't quite overcome. I never felt too put down by it, but when I look back, you do understand that it really rises. So you will need the bigger players within the group, the ones that have been there, the Harry Kanes and Declan Rice and more that have been there, who've been through tournaments before, to be really commanding in terms of helping the players through that bit. But when there's talent in the squad, I think you understand when you wear the shirt for your country, pressure is the thing. It's going to come. So it's how the players deal with that will be relative to how they get on in that tournament, but they need to be ready for it.
Would you like to play in that Bayern against PSG match the other night, by the way, Frank?
Honestly, Jay, I love watching that game. I love watching it because, you know, when I watch it and the speed and the quality of things done, highly skilled things done at a top level, two teams going at each other. Like, we do talk a lot, and I know I've been listening to the shows a bit over the last couple of days about the Premier League and how some games have become a bit of a chess match and teams sort of stopping each other. That's fine. Our job as coaches is to try and find out whatever your way is. But to see two coaches, to see that talent across the pitch, to see them going head to head. And I heard the stuff about bad defending in the game. That of course there was some defending which you might question, because when you take risks, you leave yourself one-on-one. But as a product, as something to watch, one of the best games I've ever seen of football. I absolutely loved it.
I think it was incredible as well, wasn't it, Frank? When it was 5-2 to PSG, most teams maybe, okay, going to bring on the centre half, we're going to shut up shop here, try and stay in the tie. Bayern Munich is still flying forward at any opportunity, get two quick goals, and easily could have got an equaliser.
Yeah, I like, and I think that's testament. You know, people will say it's easy when you work with top level players, and of course there's a degree it is, but Vinny Company, for instance, or Luis Enrique, but I know Vinny a bit. He deserves to be in that job because of the work that he's done. So then you get those players. But I like when he said after the game about like kind of what do you want? He was talking about the bad defending necessarily the game or what the game looked like. What do you want? Do you want to watch something like that where players are actually pushed and they're all in? Or he said you have to be all in. And I think at Coventry this season, I'm not comparing us by the way to Bayern Munich or PSG now, but we've been all in our way of what we know we want to be. And I've always felt confidence that we could come back into games even when we were losing games, and we've done it. And you saw that done at the highest level the other day. A team that know what they're doing, believe in what they're doing, and just go at it. And what a great thing it was to watch.
Frank, we're out of time, which means that I won't have time to ask you about the 12 different clubs that you're being linked with at the moment. I just want to read one final.
That's good.
Yeah, I know, mate, I know. Just one final text, and I think it reflects what a lot of people have been saying here. This is from Musa. He said, "I just wanted to say I started supporting Chelsea in 2004. Frank Lampard made me fall in love with the club. What a man. Great role model in football and life generally. Deserves what he's achieved as a family man, player, and now manager. God bless Super Frank." So
fantastic, mate.
Brilliant. Frank, thanks so much for taking the time to join us this morning.
Good luck, mate, and I'll stop pestering you now, mate. I'll leave you alone.
No, Gabby, anytime. Thanks very much, lads. It's a really nice speech, and thanks to all the fans there. You said that. I really appreciate that. Different clubs and different people. Thanks for the nice words, everybody.
Good luck, mate.
Cheers, Frank. All the best.
Thanks very much. Good luck, lads. Thanks.
Absolutely brilliant. But it's
I've had him on for another 2 hours.
Oh, well, he talks brilliantly, but that's one of the great things, because reading those texts out, everybody can relate to Frank, and Frank can relate to everybody. And it's a really rare thing in football, I think, you know. And when he talked about the emotion after that Blackburn draw, which took them up, people love to see that.
Yeah.
You know?
And especially when you're someone like Frank Lampard, who, let's be honest, Jeff, doesn't have to work again financially. And his joy to be a coach, his love for it. You know, we talk about ex-players that end up becoming maybe pundits, but that's his passion, being a coach. And the job he's done at Coventry has been amazing. And I really hope they have a successful season next season.
Yeah. One of those jobs that I didn't ask him about that he's been linked to is Crystal Palace. And I think we might talk about them next, because they play Shakhtar Donetsk in the Conference League this evening. That's coming up next on talkSPORT, where it is 9:18.
It's not the first time that Jack's been caught up in off-field issues, if you can call this an off-field issue. Way back in March 2020, during the first COVID-19 lockdown, he was involved in an incident in Solihull, a car crash, 24 hours after urging fans to stay home on social media. He ended up pleading guilty to careless driving at the time. He was fined over £80,000. He was handed a 9-month driving ban after the incident. A year later, after a 7-0 win over Leeds, Pep Guardiola was said to be unhappy with the condition of both Foden and Grealish, turning up at a training session and not in the best of condition. After their treble win, we know that Jack Grealish was lionised by a certain section of the general public. He was on a bit of a drinking bender, but Pep seemed to be quite relaxed about it. If you fast forward to March 2025, he was spotted in Newcastle following an FA Cup win. He visited a social club in Washington near Newcastle on a Sunday. He was described as a total gentleman by locals. He posed for photographs, but then when he left the pub, he seemed somewhat unsteady on his feet. He looked a bit worse for wear. And Pep ultimately was asked about that and the sequence of events that led up to that.
They know what they have to do. So day off is day off. It's no training. They are a private life. They will do whatever they want. I'm not going to control what they do in the private life. So I judge what I have to see with the pitch, the training sessions, in the performance in the
Very good morning to you. It's 9:22. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. I'm Jeff Stelling Gabby Agbonlahor is with me. Just confirmation of the news we heard a few minutes ago. Ashley Young's announced he will retire from professional football at the end of the season. And what a career it has been. I mean, he'll be 41 in July. Absolutely amazing. And obviously his clubs from Watford, Villa a couple of times, Manchester United, Everton, Inter Milan, which I think people forget sometimes.
You know his biggest achievement, winning the Scudetto, Inter Milan.
Yeah,
that team under Conte.
Incredible.
What's funny, Jeff, I was at Watford with him. So what's funny, when I was in the Villa Academy, I think I was like 18, 19, I went on loan to Watford because he was injured. I remember going on loan at Watford and they had like Jordan Stewart, Trevor Benjamin, these players. And I was looking at this guy training, coming back from injury, and he was whipping balls into corners. And I'm like, asking people, like, who's this guy? And they're like, oh, that's the guy you come on loan to replace for a month. He got back. They sent me straight back to Villa because obviously he was their main player. But the career he's had, loved him at Aston Villa. Me and him had a great relationship. And just the different positions he's played. If someone had told me at Aston Villa, Ashley Young would play for years as a defender, I would have said, not a chance. He was scared to tackle. He was scared to head the ball. So what he's done, a fantastic career, lovely guy, and definitely a legend for me.
Yeah, and you get the feeling he probably could have carried on if injuries hadn't taken his toll. Injuries have plagued his time at Ipswich, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I think if you asked him as well, he would have been so disappointed at he had the chance to play with his lad.
Yeah.
Like that against his lad. That would have been so heartbreaking for him. But he would look back on his career and, the likes of James Milner as well, similar age. Longevity that they've had at the top has been amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of dedication goes in. Looked after themselves brilliantly.
Yes.
And obviously we wish Ashley well. I'm sure it's going to be popping up in punditry terms
definitely.
A lot in the coming seasons. Now, Crystal Palace continue their bid for 2 trophies in 2 years. They face Shakhtar Donetsk tonight in Poland in the first leg of their Conference League semi-final. It's live on talkSPORT 2. Boss Olivia Glasner, or even Oliver Glasner. I can't keep turning into Olivia, but Oliver Glasner, who of course leaves in the summer, spoke yesterday on how his team is feeling ahead of the game.
We are feeling well, so team is fit, team is looking forward. We have a good mood, we have a great atmosphere, and even when we lost at Liverpool with the performance we showed there, we took a lot of positives into the Shakhtar game, and it's also that the style is a little bit similar. Liverpool playing with wingers, with Salah and Gakpo dribblers. Shakhtar playing with 2 Brazilians, inverted players in a 4-3-3 structure. So this performance at Liverpool gives us a lot of confidence.
I mean, I think they went into this tournament as pretty much favourites. But they've justified that favouritism. It hasn't always been pretty, has it? But here we are, semi-finals of a European competition. What a farewell this could be from Glasner.
What a farewell, and what a stage for the next manager to come into.
Yeah.
You could be playing, is Europa League you go into if you win the Conference League?
So, yeah.
I think it is, isn't it? So European football again for Crystal Palace. And that could be the normality. You know, winning trophies for Crystal Palace is normal. Winning the FA Cup, winning the Community Shield, and hopefully winning this competition. And also, does that say to players that may be looking at leaving, no, stay. You win trophies. You'll play European football. Adam Wharton, Sarr, why do you want to leave? Stay. Guaranteed to be in Europe. You're winning trophies. So he's done a fantastic job. And I think his stock is very high again, Mr. Glasner.
I think obviously it makes Glasner an attractive proposition for other clubs, but it also makes Crystal Palace an attractive proposition for other managers, doesn't
100%. You're looking at that and you're saying, okay, we can get this over the line now. If you're the owners of Crystal Palace, Europa League football next season. And Crystal Palace, if they invest right, could be one of the favourites for the Europa League. Look at Aston Villa being favourites. Look at how far Nottingham Forest have gone. They've been in a relegation battle. You keep holding your best players. You bring in the players in the right positions that you need. There's no reason why Crystal Palace next season can't say, well, can't we have a good go at the Europa League? So it's fantastic times. And if you're Crystal Palace now for the rest of the season, are you resting a few players in the Premier League games, Jeff?
Well, they're nice and safe at the moment, aren't they? I mean, there will be suitors for a number of their players. There's no question about that. Do you think it's important from Palace, whatever happens here, that they have their new man in place? Do they already have him in mind, do you think?
They should do. Look at what Bournemouth have done. Yeah. Iriola has said he's leaving. Okay, they know the new manager. It's been announced. Maybe they're looking at it, Jeff, and do they want to make sure they've got European football next season? Is that the reason? And they're looking at what top manager they can get in. But as well, players want to know. You know, if you're Wharton, you're Sarr, all these players that maybe been linked with moves, you want to know who the next manager is. But they've got to get it right, because they haven't got it right every time, have they? Was it De Boer? Did he last like 6 or 7 games?
No, even less. It was 4 matches, wasn't it?
And he got the sack. So they've got to get it right. But Glasner as well, his stock will be high, and I'm sure he'll get a very good job afterwards.
Worth mentioning Shakhtar again. Play all of their games on home games on a neutral ground. Now, what they've achieved from a war-torn nation is absolutely astonishing. And Arda Turan. And they will be motivated by national pride this evening. I don't think there's any doubt.
It will not be easy at all.
It's a very tough game as far as Palace are concerned. Mark was a QPR fan from Colchester, says, fantastic interview of Frank Lampard. What a genuine nice guy. Also has the drive to be a winner. And the Coventry dressing room must be a great environment to be in. I'm not a fan of footballers being mentioned as role models, but Frank is a class individual who is certainly a role model.
So I reckon, well, Jeffrey, Frank, I reckon he's got that management style as he can lose it when he wants to, but majority of the time he's got that fun factor, having a laugh with the players, which is so important with players. You know what it's like nowadays? It's a different era, Jeff.
Yeah.
And I bet you can't really go too hard on players now. On my last year at Aston Villa, there were certain players that if you went hard on them as a player, or a manager, you've lost them for the season.
Yeah. Now, it's an absolutely fantastic season and has got fans literally all over the country. Coming up, we'll turn our attention to the other huge game tonight. It's live on talkSPORT. Nottingham Forest take on Aston Villa. We'll find out how nervous Gabby is next.
We'll keep our eye on Newcastle. Members of PIF travel into Newcastle this week for their annual meeting with the club's departmental heads. How high on the agenda do you think Eddie Howe's name is going to be, Alex?
I think it has to be pretty high,
because it's been a disappointing season. There's no two ways about that. They're a lot lower down the Premier League table than he would have expected at the start of the campaign. Looks like they're not going to get European football at all next season, which might help them in the long run, because I think they found it a struggle balancing Champions League and domestic ambitions. But if I was Eddie Howe, I'd have some questions for the owners. You know, there's players who want out of that football club, Anthony Gordon being one. Sandro Tonali, I don't think it was a coincidence that his agent was leaking stories that Arsenal were interested in January. Tino Livramento, I'm told, has no intention of signing a new contract. But they've got to handle this summer a lot better than they did last. The Alexander Isak saga was allowed to drift on for far too long. If they were going to sell him all along, as I understand was the case, they should have done it much earlier in the window. They would have been in a better position to get top targets, because if Newcastle fans think that Nick Voltemada and Johan Wissa were anywhere near the top of Newcastle's list of potential options at the start of the summer, they're deluded. I think the recruitment was poor. I think the handling of the Isak situation was poor. And I would say be careful what you wish for, because this is a manager who's come in, he inherited a club who were battling against relegation. He's took them into the Champions League not once but twice. He's ended that long wait for domestic silverware. And I don't think he's necessarily getting the credit he deserves, because they've had a bad season.
It's hard to disagree with anything Alex has said there, isn't it?
I think that's right, but I also think there is a point where someone's voices become less effective than they once were before.
Over the last few years, Formula One has gone from elitist and insular to a global entertainment brand. The transformation's down to American investment group Liberty Media, who cultivated a new image for the sport since buying it in 2016. Better access to drivers, improved content on social media, and tapping into the US market have given F1 a massive boost in both attention and revenues. But is everyone happy? The fans certainly are, as evidenced by Drive to Survive. Almost 7 million people per season have tuned in to get all the gossip and all the drama from the paddock. The extra exposure means the drivers can demand a higher salary too. In 2010, the top drivers were earning $20 million a year, which isn't bad. But now, the very best earn 3 times that, with Max Verstappen getting a whopping $65 million in 2025. But money doesn't always buy happiness. Some drivers, including Verstappen, don't like the pageantry the changes have brought about. In Las Vegas in 2023, Verstappen said the drivers were made to look like clowns, and the event was 99% performance and 1% race. Some purists who still watch the sport feel the same, and that the spirit of competition has suffered. But Formula One and Liberty Media don't look like slowing down anytime soon. So expect more races, major events and exclusive access in future.
Good morning, this is talkSPORT Breakfast. It's 9:35, Thursday, April the 30th, and I'm with Gabby Agbonlahor. Just till 10 o'clock now. Are you nervous about tonight?
I'm very
Forest
nervous.
against Villa?
I'm very nervous. Like you wouldn't believe, Jeff. Especially when I see my team, the way they play from the back and they take chances. It's going to be one hell of a atmosphere tonight, and I don't know what I'll take, Jeff. I feel like, give me a draw now, bite your hand off.
Okay, that's
For tonight,
interesting.
yeah.
Well, look, Unai Emery, we know, has got a wonderful record in this competition. He's won it on 4 occasions, reached the semi-final on 6 occasions. A lot of the questions tonight are for the Forest manager, Vitor Pereira. Here he is now.
This week I went in the city, in the center city, and I see the statue of the big manager in this club, and for me it was something that I don't want my statue anywhere, but we can imagine what he was in this city. Understand? Because he's in the center of the city, and because he did something fantastic that stays in the heart of these people until now, and for the new generations for sure. Inspiration for us.
So, could Forest produce a Brian Clough style inspired performance tonight against Villa? Gabby's desperately hoping not. Let's ask a man who might feel differently, I think. The former Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, Mark Crossley.
Morning, Mark.
Now. Morning, Mark.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Gabby.
Look, obviously there have been some wonderful European nights when it comes to Nottingham Forest. I think this is a difficult decision for Vitor Pereira, though, because, they're not safe in the Premier League just yet. Dare he field his full first-choice side?
I think, well, he has to do. Yeah, he has to do, yeah. They're not quite safe, but I think the odds are saying that probably are. But, I think the most important thing is that going back a few weeks that we were talking about Forest, what's the most important, staying in the Premier League or getting to a semi-final of a European tie? And for me, it's both. You try for both. So, and that's exactly what's happened, to be fair. And they're unbeaten in 8 games. They're playing really, really well, scoring lots of goals. I think 13 goals in the last 4 Premier League games. They're a team that are in real form at the moment. So, it's a semi-final, isn't it? You got to go all out.
What do you think as well, Mark? Gibbs White's been in great form, hasn't he? But so has Nico Williams. He was a menace when Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest played a few weeks ago. Scored a goal, and he was the problem for John McGinn on that side. But a big loss with Murillo, who maybe is out for tonight as well, isn't he?
Murillo was always a big loss. Yeah, he's a good player. When your best players are missing, then it is always a big loss. But yeah, Nico Williams, for me, player of the season.
Amazing.
He's the most improved player over the last few years as well. And he looks like a real good established player now. I think the main thing for me is against Sunderland, the manager had the option going with 2 up top. So Chris Wood and Jesus. So that's an extra option as well to go with 2 strikers if they would like to. So, yeah, I mean, it promises to be a great tie. Villa are a good team as well. I mean, at least we're going to get one in the final. But,
yes,
I know you want the Villa, Gabby, and I'm all for Forest. So
I think you've got to concentrate on the Premier League, mate. I think you should rest Gibbs White, Nico Williams. Yeah. I don't think you can risk it, Mark. Get that back to your manager.
I tell you what, I've got a confession to make. I can't get to the game. I'm absolutely gutted because I've got to confess that my missus booked a spa day in Harrogate.
Oh,
I'll be arguing the toss because I will be finding somewhere to watch that game later on.
Spa day in Harrogate, eh?
I know.
All of us.
Lovely. What do you make of Vitor Pereira then? Do you see, we've talked about Brian Clough before, do you see a tiny element of the Brian Clough in him in the sense that he's pretty unconventional?
Well, I'm pleased he's been into the city centre and had a look at the statue and everything. And I'm pleased that he's actually had a look at the history of the club. And if he gets anywhere near to what Brian Clough did, he'll have done a fantastic job. But he is going the right way about it. He's talking about him and he's not wanting to do things his own way. He's embracing like what the club is all about, which is, I always think is a very, very, very important that's Brian Clough's football club, and he's embracing that, which it's really pleasing to hear.
I'm getting someone in my ear saying you do a very good Brian Clough impression. What would Brian Clough have said tonight in the team talk before the game?
Keep the ball on the floor, pass it to a red shirt and put the ball in the goal. It's that simple.
Yes.
So, Mark, what sort of lead then? Would any lead be what was required from Forest this evening? A single goal late to take to Villa Park, would that do nicely?
I think I don't. As long as there's not too big a gap for either team, I don't think it really matters. I mean, you were seeing teams lose 1-0 at home and go away and still get through in a tie. So I think it'd be very tight tonight. I don't think either team will want to give too much away. So I see it being a really, really tight game. And then the second leg, obviously, we'll see what happens. But I just see this being a really. You couldn't call it.
No,
Jeff,
can't call it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't call it.
Do you know what's funny though, Mark? Is that last season, Nuno Santo getting close to getting Nottingham Forest in the Champions League. And you look at this season, relegation battle, but Forest have got every chance of winning Europa League and playing Champions League football next season. Imagine that.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
And I always put it down to the start of the season. Forest have been in the Premier League now. This is the 4th season since promotion. First 2 were a real struggle. They started the season terribly. The last season where they got into Europe and almost the Champions League, the start of the season, there were points on the board. They went to Liverpool, won 1-0 at Anfield, and that just set up the season perfectly. This season, again, it was a bad start and fighting for their lives again. So I'm a big believer in the start to a football season. It really tells you really how you're going to go on for the rest of the season, but they're hitting form at the right time. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 1-3 on the bounce and want to maintain a bit of momentum. I'll tell you what, with English arrogance, I'm going to say that the winner of this one will go on and win the tournament because it's Braga or Freiburg in the final, and either Villa or Forest would definitely fancy their chances against either of those.
100%. I think. I was watching the game against Sunderland and I was just shaking my head every goal that was going in, Mark. I was like, wow. Oh, this is going to be a problem. It's going to be tough. But I agree, 50-50 this game. It could come down to a ridiculous penalty like we saw last night, Mark, over the 2 legs, a silly handball that's given. But there's not going to be much between both teams.
Yeah, the last 2 games over the last 2 evenings have been amazing. Some terrible decisions for penalties, in my opinion. But I think it's just going to be so tight. Again, I reiterate that it's just too hard to call. You can't call it. There's one thing that I would like to say, that I think sometimes when a football team comes together as a group, and the sad news of young Elliot Anderson, it really brought the squad together and showed love and affection. And I think that's been a big factor of late, that
spot on.
Pulled together and when someone needs good people around them, there's no better than your teammates. And so that's been one of the good things as well that's come out of the bad news.
Well said, Mark. Mark, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, mate. All the best.
Yeah, enjoy the spa day.
Oh, man. I can't wait. They'll think there's a whale coming in the pool there.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate.
Take care.
Hey, Gabby, I was reading Andre Onana a doubt for Villa. That would be a big, big loss.
Yeah, massive loss. Listen, he's played a lot of football recently, but if you look at his record over his career, has a lot of injury problems. Really does.
I just think he's such a big player.
Exactly. Set pieces as well. He's so important. And Douglas Luiz hasn't been great. Bogard is okay as a squad player. So it'll be a massive miss tonight.
Yeah. Coming up next, the news broke overnight. The PIF are about to withdraw their investment in Live Golf. Legendary golfer Dame Laura Davis tells us next what that will mean for the likes of DeChambeau and Rahm.
Look, Jose will always live in Chelsea fans' heart, okay? Because what he achieved and what he done for that football club. But Jose changed as a man. As the game has changed, I don't doubt he still has a quality. But I just find it crazy.
What do you mean?
Well, they've gone from, Real Madrid have gone from moving away from Zidane, okay? Then they went to Ancelotti, and then they brought in Alonso, right? They wanted to go in a different direction, slightly, moving with this slightly younger head coach. And now they're going back to Jose again. They sound a bit lost. Sounds a little bit like they're going back to what they know.
Yeah, but I hear you. And Julian Lorenz made some really good points there. I think Jose Mourinho in a bad fit. I think they thought that they wanted to be, they've got Galactico side, right, with players again with Mbappe, Vinicius Junior, and Bellingham, players like that, right? They wanted to have like an Alonso coach who can make them play football. And they realised these players have got big egos. And they always have when you're at Real Madrid. Real Madrid is full of egos. Ancelotti knew how to control them egos. Who is a manager who knows how to control big egos?
Yeah,
Jose Mourinho.
I'm not saying he doesn't tick any boxes, but he will leave.
Do you need to have brilliant tactics when you've got them world-class players?
No, well, Jose obviously knows his way around a tactic board. He's tactically.
He's not an idiot, of course.
No,
he's not.
But there will be that the wheels will fall off, and he's the sort of manager now that I just don't know whether.
Good morning, 9:48. It is Thursday morning, April the 30th. This is talkSPORT Breakfast. Gabby Agbonlahor with me, Jeff Stelling, through until 10 o'clock. Headlines this morning. Chelsea winger Mikhailo Mudryk lodged an appeal with the Court of Arbitration for Sport against a 4-year doping ban imposed by the FA. Britain's Jack Drape has been ruled out of the French Open next month with an ongoing knee injury. His world ranking will continue to plummet. Arsenal couldn't quite get over the line in the Metropolitano last night with a 1-1 draw at the Emirates next week. I thought Declan Rice had a really good game last night, but Adrian Durham and Darren Bent were on comms for talkSPORT. They spoke after the game about whether Rice needs to do more in these big matches.
He also, I think, needs to get hold of the game by the scruff of the neck in an attacking sense, like he used to for West Ham. Sometimes he would just grab hold of a game and say, do you know what, I'm going to go and win this game for you. And there was those big moments, like the Conference League final for West Ham. I don't see enough of that from Declan Rice in an Arsenal shirt. I still feel he's playing within himself. He's got more to give. I want to see him even more.
Well, you know what? I understand. I've heard that before in terms of Declan going to the next level, because we know how good Declan can be in terms of possession, keeping hold of the ball, driving forward. But you're right. When you're getting compared to certain midfielders from the past, and the one that springs to mind is Steven Gerrard. I've heard people try and make that comparison. One thing about Steven Gerrard in games like this is where he'd look at him and go, do you know what? I'll do this. I'll go and create something. I'll go and score us a goal. I'll make sure that I'm the one that's up and down, and teams can't live with him. Declan's got all those attributes in terms of his range of passing, how the size and the presence of him, the pace, the energy he's got to go forward. And I think that's the one area, and I said it in commentary towards the end of the game when he had a strike, I want to see more of that.
Yeah, I'd love to know what Mikel Arteta's reaction would be to Declan Rice marauding forward and saying, I'll do it myself.
While we talked about Declan, no, he looked like he'd been told to play that defensive midfielder role, the number 6. Zubimendi was further forward than Declan Rice, but at times both of them further back. In other games, I would agree. 5 goals this season. Other games, he has to go and score more goals if he's getting compared to the greats of the Premier League era. But last night, he definitely got told, please, play that number 6 role, sweep up, get on the ball. The centre-halves were splitting, wasn't they? And Declan Rice was coming and getting the ball. So everything he got asked to do last night, he definitely did.
Yeah, that was his role last night, and I thought he carried it out, very well indeed. So, maybe it'll be a different role in the return game. Now, it has been rumored for a couple of weeks that Saudi Arabia's PIF could be about to pull the plug on financing the Live Golf Tour. Well, it's been revealed last night that the tour plans to inform its players today that they will be losing funding. So what next for the likes of Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton and so on? It's been reported that players and agents are already on the phone to the DP World and PGA Tours to try and figure out a path back. Joining us now for more is the four-time major winner, Golf Hall of Famer, Dame Laura Davis. Dame Laura, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Gabby. Morning, Jeff.
So, Laura, is this it? Is Live done and dusted?
Well, in its current format, where it's just basically giving money away, yeah, I think it is. I never really understood the concept. I love 72-hole stroke play. You know, if you want music, go to a nightclub or something. I don't understand the concept of what they tried to do. I understand why the players went, because, you know, all professional sports people, when you get into it, you're trying to win prize money as golfers. And I can understand when someone puts an offer like that in front of you, very difficult to say no. But now they're not the bigger names, the names you just mentioned, like Tyrrell Hatton, John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau, they'll probably get back to the PGA Tour, and some of the other guys maybe the DP World Tour, but they're not going to make it easy for them now.
No. I read that Liv are announcing, and I quote, new strategic plans in a bid to find fresh investment. But do they really have any chance of finding the sort of investment that PIF were making in Liv previously? I mean, I think the reports are they've lost 1.4 billion in 3.5 years.
Yeah, you're not going to get... The trouble is, they've not got the history of the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour. They've not got anything to lean on. It's just been a way of... It's almost been like a circus, and I've not enjoyed it. I've not really watched any of it. I have to watch some of it just purely for research, for commentating when they come play on the majors. I don't see it necessarily as a brilliant product, because... We know the players went there for the money. They certainly didn't go there for the competition. 54-hole shotgun start. For me, it was a non-runner from the start, but lots of people have made lots of money. Lots of people have lost lots of money. But yeah, I don't see in what form, unless they decide to go completely opposite and start helping grassroots golf and build from below, that would be brilliant. That would be great, a great thing to do, but I can't see that happening.
I mean, we all want to see, don't we, Laurie? We all want to see tournaments with the best players playing in those tournaments. But what do you feel will be the reaction of those who didn't go for the big money of Liv to the possibility of, you know, the Rahms and the DeChambeaus and the Tyrrell Hattons rejoining them on the World Tour?
Well, I think the sensible ones will welcome them back, in that they need the best players. We keep mentioning the big three. For me, they're the ones that will make a big impact. We can't forget either that the Live Golf has made the PGA Tour prize funds go out of control. They're out of control. They're unfundable. So I think the players on the PGA Tour have earned a lot of money because of Live. So I don't see how they can have that much problem. It almost feels like everything has to be dialed back a little bit. The prize money's out of control. They do need the best players. So hopefully some way, well, Brooks Koepka came back, didn't he? I think he's had to pay quite a lot of money and future money to get back on the tour. But he just got fed up with not having the true competition week in, week out. And now he's back in it. I think maybe some of the other guys possibly a little bit relieved that they're going to hopefully have a path back to play at the top level every single week on the great golf courses.
Yeah. And what was Liv trying to solve a problem that didn't actually exist, Laura? You know, trying to make golf appeal to young people. I know at my golf club, for instance, the junior section is absolutely thriving. You know, the course is crammed with kids, which is a great thing. So I wonder really if they, you know, got the problem completely wrong, that golf already appeals to all age groups.
Exactly right, it does. And when you've got the likes of Rory McIlroy at the spearhead, I know Scotty Scheffler's the best player in the world, but Rory's the one that the kids just absolutely adore, and it was Tiger Woods before that. I think we had plenty to offer the youngsters in the game of golf before Liv, and we'll certainly have it after Liv. We don't quite know what they're going to do yet, but yeah, the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour as well, for the young European golfers, it's something to thrive for. You go and play the DP World Tour with a goal of thinking, let's face it, the PGA Tour is the tour all the very best players in the world want to play on. So hopefully it'll all sort itself out over the next sort of 6 months or so, and we'll have the best players competing again week in, week out. How that happens, we'll have to wait and see. It's going to cost them a bit of money to get back, I think.
Yeah. Laura, Gabby says 54 holes is 53 holes too many for him. So he sat very quietly during this.
Well done, Gabby.
I'm not getting involved.
Deb, Laura, thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Laura.
Thank you very much.
I went for lessons.
Did you?
2013. Me and a few of the lads at the Belfry.
Yeah.
The coach was like, you got to do this technique. You got to like your back this way. After 2 lessons, I still couldn't hit the ball. I looked at him and says, "No point." Then he was like, "Not really."
Got to persevere, Gabby.
I couldn't, mate. It was so frustrating. I was hitting the turf. I was like, "Come on, how you meant to direct the ball if you can't even hit it? What chance you got?" So I give up. Never played since.
People don't realise how hard it is to physically hit the golf ball.
Yeah.
Initially, you
exactly.
Make any sort of contact.
I was swinging, missing. Yeah, so it's not for me, Jeff.
Yeah. Which so many footballers are fantastic golfers.
I know. I'm the one that isn't.
Yeah. You think you'll give it another go at some stage?
Well, I've seen all these golf trips that the lads seem to go on, Jeff, all across the world. I fancy a bit of that, so maybe I'll get back on it just for the trips abroad.
So, look, what's the plan today? You going to the game tonight?
No, I'm not going. I'm going to watch it with the family at home. Very nervous, though, Jeff. Certain games, even like the Manchester United game last season, where that decision cost us big games when it's your football club. You'll know this as well. Anxious, aren't you? You're just like, come on. And I know Villa are going to play out from the back and they're going to take chances. And part, you're just like, kick it, get rid of it. Yeah. You forget your ideas of football and you're just like, come on, please. Because the fans are waiting too long. My era, we failed to not win a trophy. 1996, Jeff, the last time Villa won a trophy. It's been far too long. And this is a great chance.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating game. I think having Chris Wood back and available gives Forest a whole different dimension. So I think it's impossibly tough to call.
Cool.
Yeah.
What I do think is that it won't be a lot of goals tonight.
No.
I can see a 1-1, 2-1 maybe.
1-1 absolutely shouts out at you, doesn't it? It does indeed. Yes. Well, look, Gabby, enjoy the game anyway, mate. Enjoyed your company today.
Yep, enjoy tomorrow.
I will. Yeah, amazing. We will indeed. Big thanks, by the way, to Dame Laura Davis. Some great guests this morning. Coventry manager Frank Lampard. Was a joy. Swindon manager Ian Holloway. We even dragged Ali McCoist out of bed.
What happens, Jeff, when you're on the biggest show on the channel?
Yeah, and on the biggest show in the channel tomorrow morning from 6. Sean Dyche will be alongside me for 4 hours. He'll give his reaction to a huge night of European football, and we'll build up to a huge weekend in the EFL and the Premier League, and a bit of fun with him as well. Up next, though, it is White and Jordan. Bye-bye from me.